right, Shalom Israel. It's on. Shalom, welcome back to Wednesday night class, and we're gonna follow up what we started 2 weeks ago, and just put a bow tie on it and finish it up. But first and foremost, shout out to our brothers in Houston and New York, and also in Rochester, Virginia. Shout out Shalom to you as well, brothers in California. Mighty shout out to Kawakab down in Guatemala. Amiyat in London. Shout out and Shalom to all our family and brothers and sisters out there spreading the doctrine and the truth, committing themselves to sacrificing for the word and for their nation. And as you can see online, the Israelite footprint is tremendous. From what I've heard, that there's a rise in the amount of Israelite communities that are now starting to excel 12% amongst our nation, amongst our people, when it used to be only 4%. So I've heard that there's a major increase in the spread of the gospel and the knowledge of the truth, and a lot of people are coming to the truth by way of social media. So this is one of those avenues in which we like to explore and reach our people. Also, not just clowning the brothers that street speaking, and also spreading the gospel on the job, at work, wherever you may reside at, around your dwelling. There's always an opportunity to spread the gospel. Remember, Yahweh Shai said that he told Peter and Andrew, put down your nets. I'm going to make you fishers of who?
Amen.
Of men. So that's what we want to do, is be fishers of men. There's always room for growth and for also converting the souls of our people. So that's the objective. So with that, let's go ahead and kind of revisit quickly so we can move forward and progress on this topic of Moses recognizing our national treasure. Because Moses was inspirational and monumental to our people. Why? Because of Moses' meekness and what he was called for. He was called to be meek and to suffer consequences of being called out, being stoned, being railed upon, and still stay focused and not give people a reason to doubt the Most High, even though their own faith and their own unbelief was a hindrance to them. So what's one thing that we kind of picked up from the first class? Yes, sir.
Not being one-dimensional.
Not being one-dimensional. That was the second class. Not being one-dimensional, meaning not being one way on dealing with our people. Having a variety of methods to be able to reach our people versus just coming at them with fire and brimstone. You know, that is one way, because we read that in Jude. We read that in Jude to begin with. He says some pulling them out of the fire by fear, right? And some with compassion, some with meekness. So some of our people require different things as a leader in order to touch and reach our people to get the best out of our people. Also, the first class we discussed knowing how to separate the sin from the sinner. Not categorize and just see the sinner and be disgusted in the fact that I have to tolerate you as a sinner, versus me loving you as a person, as a man, as a creation of the Most High, and looking at the sin as being disgusting, and not you as a person.
That's a higher level of maturity.
Yes, God. Because the disciples were rolling with Yahweh Shai, but when you look at the Pharisees couldn't understand why in the life of Yahweh Shai, if he was a prophet, would he eat with publicans and sinners? Because he knew how to separate, looking at the people, not being disgusted by them, but being disgusted by the sin, hating the sin and not the sinner. That's very critical as a leader to be able to separate. So just kind of rehashing and catching up on where we were before. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 24. Let's start there. And just to kind of backtrack and then catch up to where we need to be at.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 24.
God.
And the servant of the Lord must not strive.
All right, so let's read verse 7 real quick, because there's a reason why we were here. No, not 7, not yet. Just continue reading. We're gonna pick up verse 7 in Titus. Go ahead.
Verse 24. And the servant of the Lord must not strive.
So it's not about fighting with people to convince people. We also read an excerpt from Matthew Henry that said, you gotta first love the people that you're trying to persuade. You got to have a love for those people that you're persuading. You can't hate the people, be despised and disgusted by people, and then expect to persuade them also. So you have to have a genuine love for the people that you are trying to persuade. All right. So read on.
But be gentle unto all men.
All right. So there's a gentleness that's required of a leader to roll with, being sensitive to understand what this person needs from me. They're not going to all respond by fire and by a rod of correction. Not all the time. That is necessary, but there's there's a variety of ways of reaching our people. Read on.
Apt to teach.
He said, but you got to use scriptures. You got to be able to be qualified with the book to teach our people, because our people require more reasons to do something. They require more motivation. They just don't do it because you say so. You know, our people require more too. Why should I do this? What's the benefit of me doing this? Of changing, of you introducing this idea to my mind and me making this adjustment? What's the benefit? Our people aren't easily swayed. So you got to be able to use a higher standard of living and a higher standard of morality to motivate our people. Read on.
Apt to teach. Patient.
It said, but you got to be what?
Patient.
You got to be patient. Our people are not going to change overnight. Our people take time. Just like they didn't become the people that they are overnight. You know?
True.
So it's going to take time to persuade our people. Which means that in the meantime, read on.
In meekness.
In the meantime, while they're changing, because they're not changing overnight, I have to institute a particular virtue. That particular virtue is meekness. I have to suffer them until they change. I have to tolerate them until they change. I have to put up with them and not be offended by them until they make the adjustment. And that's where meekness comes in at. It gives you the patience and the temperament necessary to put up with our people until they do change. Read on.
In meekness instructing those that oppose themselves.
And like we talked about last week, they're their own worst enemy. Our people are their own worst enemy. So you have to convince them to alter their mentality by way of the scriptures and by way of meekness until they see the vision, until they get inspired and see the light, so to speak, come on, the light bulb come on, so to speak, and make that adjustment. Read on.
If the Most High peradventure.
It says, and if you use both of those methodologies, both using temperance, gentleness, meekness, and also the scriptures, those are both very effective methods that Moses was using to do what?
If the Most High peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth.
And so you give our people, by using those two methods, you give our people the best opportunity to change and wake up out of sin. So it takes somebody having to teach them, also simultaneously somebody being patient enough to develop them, hold their hand if need be, until they grow and change. Right? So let that go. It says peradventure that the Most High does what?
Will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth.
Go ahead.
Verse 26. And that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil.
It's because they don't want to be evil. Our people don't want to be evil. But they're in bondage. By who? By the devil. So a negative spirit has taken hold of them. So who's going to be able to be patient enough, utilize the book until these spirits are rejected and expelled out of this individual? But just as much as that person, you want the best for that person also has to embrace what you have to give. And that's the medicine that you have to offer, which is a minister. It's somebody that a physician, somebody that gives medicine, which we read last week. Who wrote it down about what we read about a good teacher and how he dispenses medicine? Did anybody write that down last week? If they did, I don't have to pull it back out. If not, I'll reread it. Let's get this real quick. Read this for me real quick. Page 888.
To give medicines. Minister to give medicines.
It's not just the minister, but this part right here, just that bracket. Yeah, but that's what we learned. A minister is a servant, but also somebody that give medicine. Read. He got it.
888 and Philo. It says, a teacher of a good and virtuous disposition, even if he sees his pupils at first stiff-necked by nature, does not despair of producing in them a change for the better.
So, because I don't see an immediate change in a person, do I give up on that person?
Lie.
Am I justified in quitting on that person because this person's been this way for a while?
Lie.
Love.
No, I'm not justified. But a good minister, which is somebody that administers what? A physician, somebody that administers
To
what?
give medicine.
Somebody that gives medicines. I'm not justified in saying, well, man, this medicine ain't taking root fast enough. This medicine is taking too long to take effect. I don't see the change right away.
This is good too. It says a magistrate, an executive officer, meaning that someone who plays a role in this person's life. They say it takes a village to raise a child.
Come.
It takes a collection of people that are willing to play certain parts for this person's life and take what you have to offer.
Come. Absolutely. Read on.
It says, does not despair of producing in them a change for the better.
It says you don't despair when you don't see the change that you want to see out of a person. You don't despair, but what do? Read.
But like a good physician, he does not apply a remedy at once, at the first moment of the disease attacking the patient, but he gives nature time that it may recede a little, so that he may first take ready the path to safety.
Right. It says, so I got to look at what's the best possible way to approach this individual who's not making the changes fast enough. That means I have to make some adjustments in my dispensation of medicine, right, as a minister. Now, we also talked about a minister being a leader. And this is where we get Titus. Next verse, Titus chapter 1. Let's start at verse 7, and then we'll pick up on verse 9. You can let that go. We're going to get something else, too. In just a second.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Would that also mean like just kind of like sitting back and watching it, kind of let it run its course for a little bit, so to speak, instead of just immediately, I know what you need, kind of sit back and kind of watch what's going on?
Well, when you sit back and watch what's going on, what you're doing is when you give somebody medicine, that means I'm giving them scriptures. So I give them these scriptures, but I give them time to put the scriptures in action. Because if there's no time to put the scriptures in action, how do they know that the scriptures will ever work? So I have to sit back and let the scriptures, and this is where I follow up to say, hey brother, did you follow Did you follow this counsel? Did you follow this line of discourse? Did you follow this line of teaching or instructions that I gave you? Did you follow up on these instructions? How did you implement these scriptures? Because a lot of times people will say, yeah, I tried it didn't work. But they didn't do everything that you said to do. No different than when a doctor tells you to take all the medicine, and it's a 10-day process of antibiotics, but you only took it for 3 days because you started feeling better, then you threw the rest in the trash. Then you said, well, you know what? I tried the antibiotics, it didn't work. But did you try it for all 10 days? A lot of times our people don't do that because they don't see immediate results. So because I tried this counsel, brother, it didn't work. Well, did you try it exactly like you were told? 9 times out of 10, people don't follow instructions to the 10th degree. So you got to follow up to ensure that the counsel was implemented, or the scriptures, the set of instruction was followed through and carried through to see if it can take root. Because it's nothing wrong. The word of the Most High is not broken. It's pure. But the processing of people, the comprehension of people, how do I introduce or apply this knowledge? This is the part that's broken. The knowledge of the Most High works. It's very effective. When you read even modern day psychology books, half of psychology books are quoting verses.
Yep.
The majority of all psychological books, some of the best known psychologists, Carl Jung, wrote extensive expositions on Abraham, Moses. These are people who are taking their material from the Bible. Unfortunately, it just doesn't always be the most effective for the people it was written for, which is us. But we require a sign, but the Greeks seek after what?
Wisdom.
They can see the wisdom in it. Our people need to see a sign before we really wholeheartedly try it. We got to see something. Well, I got to see you try it first. And if it worked for you, then I might try it. But just to believe or face value what you're telling me to do is going to work, I'm not sure. I got my doubts. all of our people do? To help answer the question, or
Con.
why it's important now to follow up to make sure, because a lot of times, which is a class in itself, a lot of times you give instructions based off scriptures, but it doesn't necessarily take effect because it isn't applied the way it was given and the way it was shown and demonstrated. It isn't applied. So a lot of times what we tend to do is we have to parallel people a lot. Well, you see the brother, I gave this brother the same instructions that I gave you. How come it's working for him and not for you? What did he do with the same instructions, same situation that is working for him that you failed to apply where it's not working? Is the information wrong or the application of the information is wrong? A lot of times that's where we struggle. All right. So we're in Titus chapter 1. We're talking about that minister being that pharmacist, so to speak. My Waller, you got verse 7?
Come. Titus chapter 1 and verse 7 reads, "For a bishop must be blameless."
So we're talking about leaders. As ministers, we're all responsible for one another. Am I my brother's what?
Keeper.
Keeper. Yes, we are. We're responsible for each other. Whether you may want to accept it or not, you are responsible for your people. You have a responsibility. Maybe it's not designated. Maybe it hasn't been declared. Maybe it hasn't been made known to you. But you have a natural responsibility to your people. Give me one verse just on this particular point. Somebody find a verse where the ant has no king. Give me that verse real quick.
I think it's locust.
It might be locust.
Proverbs 6.
6
and 7.
Is it? Let's get it. Read it. Is that it?
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6.
Come.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer.
So do I need to have rank to be a brother? Do I need to have authority and be the king ant to have love?
No.
Yeah, that's what I want to. So he said, go to thou what?
Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer.
So should I have somebody to tell me to have love in order for me to have love? No. Now give me that, what you got down here. Proverbs chapter 30.
Proverbs 30 and 27.
Read that.
Said 30, 27.
Yes, sir.
Proverbs chapter 30, verse 27. It says, "The locusts have no king."
The locust is an insect with a very small brain. They don't really have a brain as big as a human, right? They have no authority figure, nor do they have this big brain. Read.
The locusts have no king, yet go they forth. Yet go they forth, all of them by bands.
Bands meaning companies. They operate with order. Even though they're insects, even though they have no king, they still operate with order amongst each other.
There's a common respect for each other, so that they know that they work together, and there's no scuffling amongst them.
You see no disharmony amongst
No
locusts.
disharmony amongst them, even though they don't have a king. They don't have somebody to force the instruction, but they know what benefits each other. So should we have to look? Now, I dropped the class on that couple weeks ago, right? Should we have to look at insects in order to adopt a love and a care for each other? No. But the Most High has it here because it's something that we need to pick up. You don't have to have authority in order to have love. You have to have love for your people, for your nation first. So as a minister, read that Titus 1 and 7 and let that go.
Come. Titus chapter 1 and verse 7 reads from the top, "For a bishop must be blameless, as the steward of the Most High,
Go ahead.
not self-willed,
Go ahead.
not soon angry,
Go ahead.
not given to wine.
So we talked about this last week. We're not going to repeat it, but we talked about this. We're just catching up on the class. These are all requirements and qualities of good leadership. Somebody that's not self-willed, they're not making things up as they go. They're not creating their own doctrine. And this is a person that's not self-willed. They're not soon angry. They have some emotional control. They have their emotions intact. They're not just overwhelmed by passion and because people make me so angry. Ooh, I can't stand this person. They're not overthrown with emotions, which is the definition of temperate, which is to have self-restraint. Read on.
No striker.
Meaning they don't talk with their hands. They're not ready for blows. They don't just try to put their hands on you because they don't have the dexterity to try to convince you and persuade you. So that they think that by me putting my hands on you, that's going to get you to follow, which actually doesn't. Read.
Not given to filthy lucre.
Right. They're not doing it for money. Their intention is right. Read on.
But a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men.
Go ahead.
Sober, just, holy.
They're not intoxicated. And that's with anger also. Read on.
Temperate, holding fast the faithful word as he had been taught.
Go ahead.
That he may.
And they use the word just like they've been taught. So they pass down what they've been shown and taught. Read on.
That he may be able by sound doctrine.
It said he's able to use good teaching to do what?
By sound doctrine, both to exhort and to convince the gainsayer.
It says to exhort, which means to motivate, to incite, to strengthen, and to do what?
Convince.
And to convince the gainsayer.
Now that word convince means to show one his fault, demand an explanation, or to chastise or punish. Because you got to use the word, not your hands, to do so. You can't use your fists in order to correct somebody. You can't use your hands, putting your hands around somebody's neck to get the best out of them. That's not going to work. So you got to be able to use sound doctrine to convince people to make a change for the better, or to correct them in their faults. Right? So he's using scripture. So this is the qualifications of a leader, right? So this is the gainsayer is to convince the gainsayer, right? Now the gainsayer is one to oppose oneself to one, or to speak against. That one who is opposing himself to one is the person that's standing in opposition between them and the Most High. That's who they're opposing. They're really their own worst enemy, because they don't want to change, because they're resisting the Most High. So a good leader won't interfere or intermingle his emotions and be overthrown with his passion when it comes to trying to reestablish somebody's connection and relationship with the Most High and that individual who's their own worst enemy. This is a gainsayer, somebody that rejects what's being distributed to them. So it's a skill involved when it comes to knowing how to convince our people, knowing what it takes to convince our people. It's a skill involved. It's some work involved. It's a lot of requirements involved. All right? So let's get Numbers chapter 20, verse 12, and let's go back to Moses. And because Moses is the individual, the patriarch that we're isolating in this particular case of his time in the wilderness, of what happened to him while he was meek the whole time, patient, not taking the personal, and he got frustrated. Numbers chapter 20, verse 12.
Numbers chapter 20, verse 12.
Read verse 11.
God. Numbers chapter 20, verse 11. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believe me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore, ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
Now, we read in Ecclesiastes chapter 43, verse 4, that Moses was sanctified to keep the people faithful. His job was to make the people more faithful, which means that no matter what they go through, they can always depend on the Most High. So the Most High was using Moses to protect his image amongst the people. That you could trust me. You could depend on me. You don't have to doubt me. You don't have to be subjected to this idea that you're alone. I'm going to take care of you. You don't have to worry when it comes to your basic needs, food and drink. But our people couldn't see the Most High, so it was Moses who was used as an instrument to aid our people in depending upon the Most High for what they go through. So he was also sanctified for the purpose of showing them meekness, because the Most High understood that that was the spirit necessary to be able to bear our people's unbelief. You have to have and utilize meekness as a leader to bear our people's unbelief, because our people will demonstrate hostility. Our people will demonstrate a lack of trust. So, and they're going to blame the person that they're working with and saying, it's your fault I'm in this condition. That's why the leader has to be blameless. So Moses was sanctified for those reasons. So when it says that the Most High told him in verse 12, read verse 12 again.
Numbers chapter 20, verse 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because he believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore, you shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
He says, so what he's saying is, you got to keep the children's perspective clean and pure towards me. Moses was selected to help the people keep a pure outlook towards the Most High. But when Moses got frustrated, this is when he started to fail in that particular purpose, in that particular duty. Because the minute that he opened the door through his emotions, it gave reason for people to doubt. Let's get Romans chapter 12, verse 10. Now we're kind of catching up to where we want to go into in this third section of this class.
Romans chapter 12, verse 10. Be kindly affection one to another.
It says, be kindly what?
Affection one to another.
Read on.
With brotherly love.
It said, with brotherly love.
In honor, preferring one another.
It says, in honor, preferring one another. Which means that if I'm a leader, the needs of the students prevail over my needs. If I'm a leader. If I'm a leader over my people, it's not about how I feel. It's not about what I want. It's not about what I'm going through. It's about what they need from me. And if I ever misconstrue that understanding, then I'm going to interfere with their relationship with the Heavenly Father. It's not about what I want. He says preferring one another in what?
Preferring one another, not slothful in business.
So it's about what they need over my needs. Moses got frustrated. It says preferring in honor, meaning it's about what they need, not what I need. Moses got frustrated with his people because he got tired of having to deliberate and deal with their unbelief and their groanings and their irritated speeches. He got frustrated.
He had mentioned that the timing of it was also that his sister had died.
Yep.
He was older in age. That was the second generation he was dealing with, and we're having the same problems as last time.
Yeah.
That was a background issue, showing that our background problems really can't affect us if we're going to be effective.
Yeah.
Our background issues have to be put to the side.
You know, he had just lost Miriam in the beginning of that chapter, but still being the fall guy and the blame guy of why they're thirsty.
Yep.
Nobody was considering what Moses was going through. Nobody was considering the fact that he's up in age, but he's still wandering right along with the people. He's suffering right next to them. But the minute that he got frustrated, the Most High had to give him a punishment, which was to not finish what he started with the people. He said, you'll see the promised land, but you won't be able to walk into it or inherit it. He said, because of this mistake. You didn't keep the children's perspective clean towards me. because you got agitated, because you got frustrated. You deterred the people's belief and altered their belief, and that's what we're going to go into today. Let's get 2 Samuel chapter 12. Now we can kind of caught up on where we were from last week. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 12, start at verse 7, so we can go straight to the point.
2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 7.
Read that.
And Nathan said to David, Thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord power of Israel. I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul.
So did not the Most High deliver Moses out of Egypt and used Moses as an instrument? Well, the Most High also delivered David out of some type of bondage. That bondage was the threat of death by Saul. He said, he's reminding David what he's done for him. I delivered you from your enemy. I took you out of harm's way from the person that had it out for you. Read on.
Verse 8. And I gave thee thy master's house.
He said, and you inherited your master's house. I took you out of harm's way. You were in danger. I set you up in your master's house. The same guy that's trying to take you out, I swapped him out and I put you in his place.
Because he didn't have time to build his house all those years like other men. Other men got to occupy their labors so they can benefit and be self-sufficient.
Yep.
While David was sitting here serving the Father, couldn't really serve himself or develop himself or build himself. So his service required the Most High to step up for him and take care of him.
God. And because the Most High, because he was still loyal, even not putting a hand on Saul, because he looked at Saul as the Most High's anointed. The Most High, because of that disposition, the Most High took care of him later on. He stayed blameless, even when he had opportunity not to. Read on.
And I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives into thy bosom.
He said, and I swapped out his wives and gave you his wives. Read on.
And gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah.
And I gave you leadership over both houses. All 12 tribes was under your authority and rulership.
And just to clear it up, he gave him his wives because he died. Remember, Saul died in battle.
Yep.
He was plotting on his brother's wives. And I get the throne. This is what I want. That wasn't the case. Saul died in battle, he died in war, and then David became king.
Yep. Read on.
And if that had been too little, I would more.
He said what?
And if that had been too little.
He said, and if that wasn't enough for you to take your enemy's place, take his house, retrieve his wives, and be over his position. He said, if that wasn't enough for you, he said what?
I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things.
Did he actually say what he would have given them? But whatever such and such is,
There's been some good things.
those are bonuses on top of bonuses.
You never know.
He didn't necessarily go into detail about what the such and such things was, but whatever it was, you knew it had to be potent. Because look at what he had already just given him. So whatever the such and such things was, he said, I would have gave you such and such things. The such and such things is whatever David would have wanted. That would have been the desires that he wanted. That was the such and such things.
Wow.
Was his desires. He said, if that was too little for what I did do for you, because you kept the appropriate disposition, I would have given you more based on what you asked for. Read on.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Most High?
He said, but you despised the commandment of the Most High. Read on.
To do evil in his sight.
He said, you decided to make a mistake. What did David do? Read on.
Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
So he said, listen, look at what I was setting you up. Look at how I was dealing with you. Was it really necessary for you to be in violation with me when I was setting you up to such a high level and high degree? Look at where I was placing you. Was it really necessary for you to do that? He said, but you killed Uriah with the sword. Read on.
And has taken his wife to be thy wife, and has slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
And you let this man die through your wicked invention. You let this man die by the children of Ammon. You set him up for failure. Exodus chapter 20, verse 13. We're going to come back. Just hold that real quick. Salakia. Exodus chapter 20, verse 13.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 13. Thou shalt not kill.
Read.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
David put a man to death, and David committed adultery. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not steal.
He said, and he stole. Read.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
So when you look at, remember, he had gave a bad report to Joab of why he was offended at this man. Man, David broke about 5 of them 10 commandments right there off the jump.
Yep.
Just that quick. Just that quick. He was in instant violation. Read on. Let that go in Exodus.
Sure.
Get back to Samuel.
2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 10. Now therefore, the sword shall never depart from thine house,
Go ahead.
because thou hast despised me,
He said, because you have despised me. Read on.
and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Most High, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this sun. But thou didst it secretly.
He said, because what you did in secret. Read on.
But I would do this thing before all Israel.
So as a leader, the Most High had to put his actions on display. And had to show him that because the things that you do that you don't necessarily let people know, the Most High will declare it in front of everybody. And that there's no secrets that you can hold when you're out of pocket. The Most High got an expectation, and it's best for us to fulfill that expectation, because whatever is the alternative, the Most High is going to expose that alternative anyway. He's going to let it be seen where your heart was really at. Read on.
For thou didst it secretly. But I would do this thing before all Israel, and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Most High.
He said what?
I have sinned against the Most High.
He said, I have sinned against the Most High. Why did David sin against the Most High? Why did David sin against the Most High? Why do we sin against the Most High? Ain't no sinners in here? Yeah. Hey, let me go online real quick. Hey, why do you sin online? It's the sinners that are online. No, I'm just joking. But go ahead. Why do we sin? We reject his way.
Spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Okay, spirit willing, but the flesh is weak. Weak to the flesh.
So we let our lusts and desires get the best of us. We give in to it.
We give in to lust.
We lose focus on.
I like that. Get 2 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 13. I like that last answer. Mm-hmm.
What was the verse? 13?
Yep. Read that.
2 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 13 reads, So King Rehoboam strengthened himself in Jerusalem.
Now, go ahead.
And reigned. For Rehoboam was 41 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned.
Now keep in mind, this is David's grandson, right? Rehoboam. Read on.
And he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which the Lord had chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, to put his name there. And his mother's name was Naamah, an Ammonites.
Read on.
And he did evil, because he prepared.
Stop. He said he did evil. When do we do evil? Because we don't do what? Read.
Because he prepared not his heart to seek the Lord.
It said, when do our people do evil?
We don't prepare not to seek heart.
No, read it again.
God. And he did evil because he prepared not his heart to seek the Lord.
Because when I don't make the Most High my focus, and I don't make the Most High my intention, and I don't make the Most High my passion and my pursuit and my pleasure, and the Most High is not the one I'm actually seeking, then this is when the evil starts to have relevance. This is when evil starts to have power. This is when the evil starts to become present. Because my mind is not prepared on seeking who?
The Lord.
So I've deviated. When anybody deviates from following the Most High, then comes the evil. Then comes the sin.
Yeah.
It's through deviation.
Because deviation opens the door.
It opens the door to sin. Because you're not putting your mind as making the Most High your heart's desire. You're not making the Most High your focus. Now all of a sudden, my pleasure is my focus. My condition is my focus. My house is my focus. My sleep is my focus. My comfort is my focus. My money is my focus. Well, then you start to introduce things that can pull you away from the Most High. Then you're off track. Christ said, ye do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of what? The Most High. Where's the error come from? I don't make the Most High my focus. I don't prepare my heart to seek after the Lord. How do you do that? You constantly stay in the Word. The major mistake that you'll find that most of us make is people stop studying. This is that's the first thing that goes out of the window when you look at and trace back the origin of most errors. A person wasn't studying. They stopped studying. They don't really study. And when you put down studying and you don't study anymore, or you put studying on the back burner, that is the very beginning of the deviation. Because I'm not committing my thoughts to the Most High. He's not my focus. Then you start to see the introduction of errors and mistakes. That's the origin. So it's the origin of a lot of our mistakes. When the Most High is not the focus, then comes the sin. Because I'm seeking something else. I'm looking for something else. It's something else I want. That's why the Most High was so... Listen to what the Most High is saying, how disappointed he is with David. He said, man, I pulled you out of harm's way from your master. I put you in your master's house. I gave you your master's wives. He said, I put you over the whole nation of Israel. And if you would have asked me for more, for such and such, I would have given it to you. Can you not hear the disappointment in the Most High?
After all the wars, after playing sick and acting and spitting on his beard and acting like he had lost his mind, he had went mad, and acting to blend in with the Philistines. After sitting here and killing, David Saul killed his thousands, but David had killed his tens of thousands, killing so much to the point where the blood clave to his hand up. Right. After jumping over a wall, after blocking a sword with his arm and breaking the sword with his arm up, like the scripture says he did. He says, "Yet thou hast taught my fingers to fight." I'm breaking down how he fought used his fingers to fight in battles.
Well, taught his hands to war.
Taught his hands to war. After the people, all the dejected and the distress came to him when he was in the cave, they came to him and made him the captain. After all the people he lost, after getting Abigail, Shashwan broke that whole class down about dealing with Nabal's foolish self. Had this dude, going through the trials of Nabal, and almost put him to death, but maintaining his integrity. Why get to the point where you're on the throne? Battle, that part of your life is over.
The tragedies are over.
The tragedies are over. That's what Israel does.
The warfare is over.
Israel, man, I got through addiction. Man, I made it through getting beat up. I made it through struggling.
I made it through COVID.
I came from nothing.
Yeah.
They become Israelites.
Eviction.
Get apartments, cars, and all of a sudden, it's time to sin now. Like you went all this way to change once you get into a position of comfort. That's the Jews. Give them a little comfort. Get him a little ribbon order. Give him 4 wheels. You can't tell him nothing.
Just said Jezreel wax fat and kick.
Come. But when you were hungry and you were knocking the doors, you had sores and I was sick and I got to the hospital and I need somebody to pray. Can you please pray for me? That guy's gone.
Yep.
Because you got something.
That humble guy's gone.
That humble guy. We hadn't seen that guy in like maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
What does that do that?
When you fresh out of a situation,
Fresh out of jail.
Fresh out of jail, first day out.
Yeah.
Of a problem or an issue, then I'm more connected to the Most High.
Come on. Brothers study when they're fresh out of jail.
Yep.
Brothers study when they get out of court. Because or they're in deliberation. The judge looking at them. Brothers is scholars.
Yeah.
But when things are normal,
or the fear of court is looming.
That's the better answer.
The fear of prison is looming.
Yep.
Then you got more of a connected individual. Or the fear of disease is looming.
Yeah.
Or the fear of surgery is looming.
Surgery's real.
Or bad news from a doctor is looming. Then you get more of a person that's connected to the Most High. What you got?
Oh, it's just when you said the disappointment, the thing that's in my mind is 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to that it makes more sense now. Study to show thyself approved to the Most High. That just makes more sense.
Right, because David's works and his disposition towards the Most High earned him all the benefits that he received. Why reap all these benefits, and now you want to subdue yourself and subject yourself to murder?
After you had just said, I know more than my ancients. One of the ancients taught me. I learned more than my predecessors, my teachers.
Why subject myself to murder? Why subject myself to adultery?
After sleeping in slime pits.
Yeah. Being on the run.
Being on the run.
For years.
Your brain, your mind was like a lion.
Having to go into the Philistines' land, who your mortal enemies, because you killed their chief captain Goliath.
Yeah.
And you got to go live with them.
Yeah. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Knowing that they may want revenge at any time. You got to be amongst your enemies. But all these things, and then you cast off the Most High. He said, I would have given you such and such if that was too little. You could hear the disappointment in the Most High. You connect with the Most High, get to a certain level, and now it's about you.
When originally you were a shepherd, and the least of your brothers, to the point where the people like, do you have any more sons?
Yep.
Oh, I got this one guy. He really ain't nobody. He's a little shepherd boy.
Yep. So he's saying, what was his issue? What be our issues? We stopped doing what? Read verse 14.
Come. And he did evil because he prepared not his heart to seek the Lord.
He said he did evil because it's when we stop preparing our hearts to seek the Most High. Other things become more important. Jobs, careers, relationships, money, stability, comforts, cars, credit, whatever. All these things are distractions. That's when we make a big mistake. David got caught up, distracted, took a day off. Normally he would be at war during that season that he was in, walking on a balcony, looking at Bathsheba bathe, entertaining negative thoughts. No need for that. But he took his mind off what? War kept David sharp.
That's true. Connected.
War kept him focused. The one time he stayed home from going to war, he entertained what? Distractions. And this is an intricate demise to leadership. When we get distracted, let that go and go back to where we're at in Samuel.
Because the object of his focus changed.
Yep.
His object was staying alive, loving the Most High, praying, fasting, surviving.
Yep.
The object changed.
Yeah, the object, who I'm supposed to be loyal to and committed to changed. So usually what the Most High has to do is to introduce loss all over again. To recalibrate your focus.
That's true.
To get you to reset what's important. He got to hit the reset button. So that's what we read now. Read this again.
2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 13. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Most High. And Nathan said unto David, the Most High also hath put away thy sin.
He said the Most High hath put away thy what?
Thy sin.
He said the one thing the Most High did put away. The mistake he put away. Get Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10. What does he mean when he said I put away your sin? I pardoned your sin. What should have happened at that time?
Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10.
Read that.
And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress.
It says the adulterer and the adulteress, read on,
shall surely be put to death.
What should have happened?
Should die.
The Most High should have smote him and took him out right on the spot. So when he says, I have taken away thy sin, he's talking about, I should have killed you. I should have killed you because you deserve death at this point for your actions. Let that go and go back to Samuel.
2 Samuel chapter 12.
They would have accepted it. Because he knows the game. Right? I made a mistake. Once I took me out, it happened to Aaron. Aaron built that golden calf.
Two of them.
Two of them. Wow, I didn't know that part. No, he built one. I didn't know he built two.
Mm-hmm.
He built two golden calves. I gotta study more. He built two golden calves. You look up. Most I say, hey, get your clothes. This is down the line. Get your clothes. Give them to your sons. Come to this mountain real quick. Report this mountain.
Yep.
Then come back from the mountain. Most I has that ability too.
But he spared David. He spared David. He said, he let go of the Most High, let go of your sin. He pardoned your sin. Read.
2 Samuel 12 and 13. The Most High also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die.
He said, because you should have what? According to the law, you should be put to death. But the Most High said, I'm going to let you live. Read.
Verse 14. Howbeit, because by this deed...
He says, but howbeit. Listen to what he's about to say. He says, howbeit, because of this, he said, for this reason, though, although I let you live for that, for the adultery, he said, but for this reason, read.
Because by this deed, thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Most High.
He said, but not only is the adultery the issue. He said, but you're held as a leader under a greater expectation from the Father. You're held under a greater responsibility. One of the responsibilities that a leader is held under, he says, because you've given what?
Thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Most High.
Does that relate back to Moses?
That's exactly why we're here. Because it's the same thing that Moses did wrong. He said, because you've allotted great occasion for the enemies of the Most High to do what?
To blaspheme.
To do what?
To blaspheme.
Go ahead.
The child also that is born unto thee shall surely die.
He said, for this reason, he said, I'll let you slide from the adultery. You should have died for the adultery. Because the wages of sin is what?
Death.
So you should have received death for the adultery. He said, but for this reason is I'm going to take the child. What was the reason that he took the child? Was it the adultery? Or what was it that caused the Most High to take the child? He said, for what reason?
the child also.
No, read up.
Thou hast given great occasion.
He said, you got to understand what he's saying. When you are a leader for the Most High, and you open the door for people to despise the Most High, you open the door through your actions for people to reject the Most High, to not look at the Most High in a clear light. He says that's just as great as the sin that you did that caused you to be in this situation. Yes, sir.
I was going to add, you give the Most High a bad name.
You give the Most High a bad name. Ultimately, in layman's terms, Khan. That's exactly what you do as a leader when you open the door for sin in front of his people. You give the people a reason to despise the Most High. You give the people a reason to not believe in the Most High. And this is what the Most High, this is what the Most High is really angry about. Not only did you make this mistake, but you look at how you made me look, because you represent me. Sounds familiar?
So I was looking at Psalms 106 and I think it's 9:6, where he said, "Our fathers not understood not his wonders, but he said for his name's sake, he let it slide."
Yeah, but for his name's sake, right? Now give me this right here. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9 real quick. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9 in Deuteronomy.
He's got it. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9.
Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9. Know therefore that the Lord thy power, he is the Most High, the faithful power, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him.
He said, listen up, what the Most High is declaring right here that we're reading in Deuteronomy is, let me put it on the screen real quick. This is how the Most High wants to be seen and known. Read it again.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9. Know therefore that the Lord thy power, he is the Most High.
It says, read it like you see it. I want you to, read it verbatim.
Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments.
He said,
to 1,000 generations.
So read it one more time, because I'm getting there. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 7 and 9. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God.
So he said he wants you to understand that he is the source that you can go to for trust. He is the source that you can go to depend on. This is how the Most High wants to be seen. You don't have to tap into any other power. You can go to him to put your worries on, your fears upon. He said, don't you know that the Most High, he is what?
He is the Most High. He is God, the faithful God.
And he's faithful. What is the Most High? How does the Most High want to be known?
Faithful.
He wants to be known as faithful, meaning you could trust him.
Rely on him.
How many times through situations of people that had the Bible in their hand, people that profess religion, how many times through people that have said they're believers have contaminated the perspective of other people because they had a Bible in their hand?
1,000 times.
How many times have people walked out of a church because they got felt upon or rubbed on or touched in an inappropriate manner from a person that's holding a Bible? How many people have been violated, broken trust, been taken advantage of by people that profess that they know God?
Or financially swindled.
Or financially swindle somebody and pretend to deliver some justice and equity. But it's a manipulation tactic the whole time. How does that make the Most High look?
Unfaithful.
It makes the Most High seem as if you cannot trust him.
Yeah.
That's what the Most High, this is what the Most High is disgusted about is that he has a particular way that he wants to be known. But it's through faulty leadership that people are not aligned with the right perspective of how the Most High should be seen. How many times do you hear, man, I tried to read the Bible, it didn't make no sense. Or the church I went to, I saw some stuff going on in the church.
Yeah.
I saw some illegitimate activities. The church was just as worse as the streets.
Yeah.
The same thing I see in the street is the same thing that I see in church. Manipulation, money laundering, catching a feel good, politics, putting people that pay more up front in the front row because they pay more tight. So there's some prejudice going on in there. Cliques, groups, or lobbying for votes. How many times is the church, we need to vote this way? But you go to James chapter 2, it says what? James chapter 2, and give me verse 3.
James chapter 2.
One second.
Start at verse 1.
James is page 851. From that point, chapter 2. 851.
Read that.
James chapter 2, verse 1.
We're in the book of James chapter 2, verse 1. Let's read this.
James chapter 2, verse 1. My brethren, have not the faith of our Lord Yahweh Shai.
You're not supposed to serve Christ and do your work for Christ and call yourself a Christian or a follower of Christ or an Israelite. You're not supposed to perform your service for the Most High in Christ with what type of mentality? Read.
God, it says, have not the faith of our Lord Yahweh Shai, the Lord our glory, with respect of persons.
So in a church, it's supposed to be, you know what? It's not that the people who pay the most money should sit up front. They get the first row seat. They get the front row seat. They get to sit on stage next to the pastor. Because they commit the most money to the church.
And the name gets called out. The most.
Yeah.
In opportunities of glory.
Yeah. We want to recognize Sister So-and-so for offering this amount of money. Then who are you doing it for? In Matthew chapter 6, it says, when you do your alms, it says, be not as the hypocrites that like to be seen in the street, sounding a trumpet. It said, because when you receive praise from men, you forfeit your praise from the Most High and your reward from the Most High. He said, you have your reward for your good works. But how many institutions are supposedly religious institutions that misalign their activity with the scriptures, and they leave a negative taste in people's mouth, and now people don't want nothing to do with the Most High anymore. They don't want nothing to do with the Most High. They don't want to read the Bible no more. They don't want to believe in the Most High no more. They want to say, well, I'm not religious. They want to say, well, I'm just trying to fight.
I believe in the spirit.
Spirit. I believe in the spirit.
There is a creator.
The golden rule. I just treat people how I want to be treated. Well, did you not know that's a Bible verse? But they'll just say, I'll just follow the golden rule, and that's as far as I'm going to go. How many people are detached from the Most High because of other men's actions? Supposed leadership. And see, this is what makes the Most High angry. Read on.
James chapter 2, now verse 3. It says, for if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring and a goodly apparel.
So this guy got the 3-piece suit on. He got the double-breasted suit. He got the lapel. He has the bow tie. He got the Stacey Adams. He got the cummerbund. He's fly. He got his Sunday's best on. He got the most prestigious outfit on.
Or he has the job that gives prestige. The prestige job.
Yeah.
He's a doctor.
Yeah. He's Dr. So-and-so.
He's a doctor. He has a title.
Well, so this guy, you treat him a certain way when he's in the assembly. He gets preferential treatment. He gets red carpet treatment. He gets to park his car up front near where the pastor and his wife, the first lady, park at.
He got a parking spot.
He got a parking spot.
Yeah.
He said, but what?
James 2 and 2. For if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring in goodly apparel,
He's doing well.
He should be respected. That's what that outfit says.
He's getting blessed.
He's getting blessed, and he deserves respect. Look at his clothing. Look at the way he dressed. You got to respect him. Read on.
and there come in also a poor man in vile raiment.
Not so good clothing. You know, a lot of times people feel like they were automatically ostracized in the church. They didn't feel like they was at home. They were made uncomfortable because of the looks that they received by their congregation. How many times our people come in and they get stared up and down? They say come as you are, but when you come in, they look at you like, yeah, we're gonna walk you to the second floor level, mezzanine. We're gonna put you on the mezzanine and put you up here. We'll make you feel comfortable up here.
They don't want that camera sweeping.
Yeah.
And it's that particular person.
Read on. It's funny, man.
Verse 3, it says, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay cloak.
It said, but you give more preferential treatment to the guy that's well dressed. Gay just means flamboyant. He's fully accessorized. Hair done, clothes are done, neat, organized, well dressed, well groomed. He said, but you got more respect to that guy. He says, read.
It says, and say unto him, sit thou here.
You give him a special place to sit. Does that still not go on today? Do you not still see that behavior in modern day congregations? Where the ones that are well dressed and fortifying the collection plate are the ones that are getting preferential treatment. Read on.
It says, sit thou here in a good place.
Here, you get up close to the pastor. You get to sit in front of the choir. You get to sit on stage. We talked about this before when Evander Holyfield was at
that was a bad story.
In Georgia with the what's his name, Pastor Creflo Dollar.
Yeah.
When he was a member of his church, and when Evander Holyfield was rolling in the money, Evander had a spot up front in the front row of the church.
Biggest house in the South.
Yeah, Rick Ross got his house now, but when he had the biggest, Evander Holyfield had the biggest house in the southeastern hemisphere of the United States. Not just the South, but the whole Southeast. The house cost $20,000 a month to cut the grass.
Oh.
That's how big the house is. But when Evander Holyfield was rolling in the money, he had the front row seat. Well, when he blew all his money, he was broke. He wasn't committing that kind of money to the church. They actually removed him from the front row.
Excuse me, sir.
So, excuse me. We have a new seating arrangement for you. We're gonna put you behind the Mayberry family.
Wow.
We're gonna move you back here. This true story.
When he was world champion, he wasn't.
When he was world champion, coughing up money to the church, he got front row seats. Does this behavior not still go on today? And because of this reason, people they despise church, they despise the assembly, and they despise the Most High.
Come.
Read on.
And say to the poor, stand thou there.
And you, Mr. Poor Man, you stand over here. You don't even take a seat. You can enjoy this from the balcony. Read on.
Or sit here under my footstool.
Or you take a lesser position. Read on.
It says, are ye not then partial in yourselves?
He says that partiality destroys the commitment of people towards their relationship to the Heavenly Father. It makes people not want to have nothing to do with the Most High when they receive that type of treatment in a congregation. They don't want nothing to do with the Most High. And what's in that congregation? What spirit is in that assembly? Read on.
And are become judges of evil thoughts.
What's wrong with that assembly?
They are judges of evil thoughts.
It's something corrupt about the way that assembly is thinking. They don't know how to treat the people in the assembly. That's what's evil about it. You don't know how to do right by the people that's in the congregation. You separating people by financial profit gaining.
Yeah.
You're not looking at everybody as hungry and thirsty for righteousness. You're not treating everybody with equity. And because of this behavior, it's why people don't want nothing to do with the Most High half the time.
Not the Bible. It's not the Bible's fault.
It's not the Bible's fault. It's the judges of evil thoughts. It's the partiality that people possess that make people feel uncomfortable. Of why I can't trust the Most High. Why I can't trust the Bible. It's the contamination of men that destroy relationships with the Father. Not the Bible. There's nothing wrong with the Bible. The Bible is pure. It's the behavior of people that destroys the perspective. How does the Most High want to be seen? Go back and read that one more time in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 9. Right?
Yep.
Now therefore.
Let me get it. I'm sorry. I said I was ready. I was not ready.
So where we going?
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9. Read that.
That's page 137,
You got it?
chapter 7.
Read this.
Now therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God.
It says the Most High wants you to understand, based on how he wants to be known and how he wants to be seen, is that the Most High is a faithful what?
God.
You could trust him. You could depend on him.
He's not sometiming,
Yeah, wishy-washy.
wishy-washy.
I'm there one day. I'm God one day. Only Monday through Thursday. But I take weekends off. I take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
Tom.
You better call somebody else.
He's on D&D.
Yeah, I'm on vacation. I'm on Do Not Disturb. No, man. The Most High said how he wants to be seen is that he's faithful. You could trust him. Unfortunately, it's through men's actions that violate the trust between his people. It's the faultiness of the people holding the Bible, teaching the Bible, being the leaders of the Bible that destroy that relationship. Read.
Which keepeth covenant and mercy.
He said, I don't break my what?
Covenant.
So how many people break their word? And it make you not what? When somebody don't keep their word, what does that make you not do?
Trust them.
Trust. It makes you not trust them no more. You told me you was going to be here at this time. You told me you was going to do this. I've heard it 100 times. You keep saying what you're going to do. But when it comes down to doing it, you don't deliver. So guess what? You had the opportunity to earn my trust. And I was about to give it to you. And I'm trying to trust you. And you violated that trust. Therefore, I no longer want to put myself in a position where I'm dependent upon you ever again. I don't want to be dependent upon you ever again. But how many people do it with people, and how many people therefore do it to the Most High? By default. Because of the lack of trust that people invoke on each other. All that does is translate right to the Heavenly Father. Now all of a sudden, I don't trust you, Father, because of the person that you put in my life. They mismanaged my trust. Therefore, I don't trust nobody. I'd rather stay by myself. I'm better that way. I'm more comfortable that way. I can do bad by myself. Well, we just read the scripture that the locusts have no king. They said, but they go out in what?
In
bands. They go out in armies, in groups. They never by themselves. That's not how they function.
With order amongst them.
And there's order amongst them. Yeah. And when you notice, when one fly, they call it swarm technology.
Exactly.
That's where robotics come from. They study bees. They study locusts. They study how animals that congregate in a swarm, and they use that for little drones and little robots. Where do they get it from? When it's time to go, we move. They all move, and you can see. I remember the locusts that invaded California a couple years ago by the hundreds of millions. They started selling locust pizza.
Wow.
They started selling pizza with locusts
Vegas
on it. They had to find something to do with the locusts. There was too many of them. So they started catching them and cooking them and putting them on pizza.
It's a meal.
Yeah, selling locust pizza.
People buy
This
it?
is seasonal.
Wow.
It's a seasonal dish. So you can look that up, man.
That's crazy, bro.
But he said, look at the locusts. They don't got no king, but they operate as a group. But our people, we get heartbroken We don't trust nobody. We'd rather be by ourselves. We do bad by ourselves, and we want to be alone. And the Most High didn't make you to be alone. In Ecclesiastes 4:9, he said what? Woe to him that's what?
Alone.
Alone. Why? Why is that so detrimental? Go there real quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9. Read that.
The Bible.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes 4:9.
Yep.
Page 480 in the Black Book, chapter 4.
You got it?
Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9, the Bible. Two are better than one.
What does the Bible say?
Two are better than one.
No, one is better.
Are better than one.
Two's a crowd. Or no, two's company, three's a crowd.
Two are better than
What
one.
does the Most High say in the Bible?
Two are better than one.
In the Bible, you read that you being by yourself is not positive, is not good. He said two is better than one. Why is the Bible is about to explain this? What is the purpose of explaining that two is better than one? Because people think that they're better off functioning by themselves.
I'm 1D. I'm
Usually,
so
that's a result of being negatively affected by people. He said two is better than one. Read on.
God. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor.
Because when you compile and unite labor with somebody else, you turn two eyes into four eyes,
True.
2 ears into 4 ears, 2 arms into 4 arms, 2 legs into 4 legs. You just doubled your strength. You just double what you're capable of doing and what you can accomplish and what you put forth your effort for. You multiplied your strength. You've just cloned yourself. So now you're twice as strong. You're twice as aware. You're twice as smart. You're twice as cautious. You're twice as creative. You're twice as safe.
That's true. You got checks and balances if you need.
Yeah, you got somebody to monitor what you can't monitor, which is usually your back. Because that's what you can't see. Read on.
God. Verse 9. Verse 10. For if they fall.
It said, yeah, because if you by yourself and you're alone, you're a loner, and you fall, read on.
The one will lift up his fellow.
He said when you got somebody with you, you got somebody to lift you up if you fall. I remember me and my brother was fishing as kids. At the time, I couldn't swim. We were fishing on a golf course. When you didn't have to pay, you could just walk on. Back in the 80s, you could just walk on a golf course at the lake or pond and start fishing. You didn't have to pay to get in. So we're in the lake, in the golf course, fishing, and I slip on some algae that's on the rocks. I couldn't swim, and we fishing in a deep part. I slip, and all I could do is lift my hand up. That's all I could do, lift my hand up, and I was going down fast.
Yeah.
And and as I'm sinking underwater, all I feel is the hand grab my hand and pull me up out the water. I was dead. I couldn't swim at the time. I was dead. He said, but when you fall and you by yourself, you don't have that assistance. You don't have that additional hand to pull you up out of whatever tragedy or circumstance you in. You missed out on the opportunity for help. That's the downside to being solo. That's the negative side to being by yourself. Read on. We said, but when you got somebody with you, read on.
Well, if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow.
Go ahead.
But woe unto him
That word woe means destruction. W-O-E means destruction. That's what that word woe means. It says woe to him that's what?
That is alone.
Why?
When he falleth.
Why?
For he hath not another to help him up.
I was a dead little kid if I was by myself fishing. I was a dead little kid. I was about to be little on the news, floating. Some golfers would have found me at the 18th hole.
You know, when you revived after so long.
Yeah. I've been floating in there. How many times has it been beneficial for you not to be by yourself? But still people prefer to be by themselves. They don't see the danger in it. So the Most High got you around people for a reason. You can multiply your strength, and you're twice as safe. Read.
Verse 11. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat.
It's hard to be comfortable when you by yourself and you just rubbing your feet together.
That's not cool.
And that freeze a couple years ago, I let you know that.
Yeah, when you rubbing your feet together and you just trying to catch some heat with your feet, and you just trying to get some static going, rubbing your feet together with some socks. Sometimes that's not enough.
No. The blankets ain't enough.
It ain't enough. You try to put the blanket over your whole head. It's not enough. Read on.
Trap this heat right here.
Yeah, trap all the heat, man. Trap my breath too.
Yeah.
Read.
Middle of 11. But how can one be warm alone?
See, the Most High know that the best heat is body heat. Most High know that. He understands that. Yes, sir.
Like I said, a family survived that freeze. Obviously, there's no heat, no electricity. I think I talked to you at one point, but we all just got on the blanket. All 4 or 5 of them squeezed on this blanket. We hot.
Oh, you just toasted quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's the best heat. But especially when there is none. See, the Most High understands the power of multiplying yourself with people. Read on.
Now verse 12. And if one prevail against him.
And if you in a fight, it's not conducive to be in a fight when you by yourself.
It's a bad situation right there, bro.
The odds are against you. Read on.
2 shall withstand him.
The odds are with you when you got somebody fighting with you. 2 people back to back can withstand a bigger group. But when you ain't got that group, you don't have that partner watching your back. You just ball up and take some blows. You just get in that fetal position, protect your head, protect your neck, and just get stomped down. You better have some fast feet and run. But he said when you got 2, the odds are better. The odds are in your favor when you got somebody with you, throwing down with you, if that's the case. Read on.
And the threefold cord is not quickly broken.
And a threefold cord is a braid. A threefold cord is a braid. That's how you braid. You take 3 strands and braid them in together. You interweave the 3 strands. That's a braid. A braid is stronger than one single strand of hair. Or one single strand of cord. If you braid a cord, you can make it strong enough where you can rappel off a cliff with a braided cord. Not a single strand. What he's showing you is that when you have people with you, you multiply your strength. You intertwine and interweave your strength. It's not good for you to be by yourself. You lose out on opportunities for strength and for labor. You have to work harder to access resources. So he's just showing you some of the benefits of having a body, of having a group. It's beneficial to have an assembly that you belong to, a church that you belong to. But how many of our people have misrepresented the Most High, and now they don't want nothing to do with the church? And they miss out on all these benefits. They miss out on all the luxuries and the benefits of being united with one another because of some mismanagement of people holding the scriptures. And this is why the Most High is so angry at David. He already let the adultery go. He said, man, Nathan told him, he let the adultery go. He said, but for this reason, that baby that came from that adultery has to die. What was that reason in 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 14? Read that one more time.
2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 14.
Let everybody
Page
get it.
236, chapter 12. Page 236, chapter 12 in the black book.
Verse 14.
Start at verse 13 one more time, just so we can catch up.
2 Samuel
Yes, sir.
chapter 12, verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Most High. And Nathan said unto David, the Most High also hath put away thy sin.
He said, you should die, because the wages of sin and for adultery is death. You should die, but the Most High put that away. He let you slide from the adultery. But only the adultery, he let you slide. But there's something else he wasn't going to let him slide for. Read.
The Most High also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Verse 14. Howbeit.
He said, but he's not going to let you get away scot-free. There's something that you also did while you committed adultery as a leader of the people that the Most High is not going to let slide. What was it?
Verse 14. Howbeit, because by this deed.
He said, because your actions as a leader in front of the people. Read on.
Thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Most High.
You gave great opportunity for the enemies of the Most High to do what?
To blaspheme.
Now get the definition of blaspheme in this particular context. Not the 1828, but get the blue letter or get the concordance for the Hebrew for this particular word of blaspheme.
2 Samuel 12:14, blaspheme. It says, despise, abhor, to spurn.
To spurn. Now get the 1828 definition of spurn. S-P-U-R-N. So what David did through his adultery, the Most High was angry. He said, I'll let you slide for the adultery. I'm going to let you live. He said, but because you gave great occasion for the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme or to spurn, he said that child that came from that adultery, that child got to die. I'm not letting that child go. Because it's something that the Most High don't like. It's when you smut on his name. You smear his name. To where other people have occasion to say, ha, see, by what you do, by your actions is why I don't read the Bible. Ha ha, because of what I seen you do, I don't believe in God. The Most High don't tolerate that. He tolerated the adultery. But he don't let anybody put a smear campaign on him. Especially if you're a leader. You don't get to do that. He said that definition is to spurn. What does spurn mean?
Spurn. Go ahead.
Burn, 1828, Webster's Dictionary. To reject with disdain.
It says, so you open the door by your lust for the people, to give the people a reason they already don't want to follow me anyway. They're barely hanging on to a thread of wanting to even acknowledge that there is a God. Now, through your mismanagement of leadership, you just open the door for people to further say, this is why I don't go to church. This is why I don't read the Bible. This is why I don't want to have nothing to do with God. Because it's the leader's responsibility to keep the children's eyes clean in front of towards the Most High. Now read that in Numbers chapter 20, verse 12, what he told Moses. So we can tie these two situations together. And then we'll get the definition of spurn. Hold where we at. We're coming right back to 2 Samuel.
Chapter 20, verse 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses. Ready?
Yeah, what page is that? In the black book. We got, what you got down there? Numbers 20 and 12?
Oh, yeah, Numbers 101, chapter 20.
Page 122? All right, page 122. Let's get that. Numbers chapter 20, verse 12. Let's read that at page 122. Read that.
Numbers chapter 20, verse 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believe me not, and to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel.
You supposed sanctify means to wash or to clean, to purify. He said, Moses, you and Aaron have destroyed the people's perspective towards me. Their perspective towards me is no longer clean. Take notice, if you're a leader, how much the Most High is watching what you do and what you put on display as causing someone to disapprove or reject the Lord through your actions. This is specifically for leadership. Think about how the Most High let the adultery slide. But he's not letting the smear campaign slide. because you have a particular lust that you wanted to satisfy. Now people are going to be skeptical to me. Yeah, you got Bathsheba. Uriah is dead. But now I gotta charge you. You gotta pay for that, for making me look bad. Now you gotta pay for that. That baby's not gonna live. Do you see how the Most High is looking at David? He loves David, but he don't love the sin and the mistake. And what was the real mistake, the heavier mistake of the two? Not saying adultery is light, it's not light. But why did the Most High take it out on the baby? That baby, what does that baby represent?
A stumbling block.
It represents a stumbling block to other people's belief of why they say, because of what you did is why I don't want nothing to do with the Most High. How many people have ran away from supposed church leaders because of what they did wrong? I want nothing to do with them. He said, Moses, your job, you and Aaron, were supposed to keep the people's eyes clean towards me, following me, being faithful to me. But you got irritated with them. You got frustrated with them. You got angry with them. And now there's a detachment from me and the people. Same thing with David. He said, you give great occasion for the enemies, my enemies, to do what? To blaspheme. And that blaspheme word was to spurn. And what you got for spurn, Kariah? Let that go. You let that go, Amir.
Spurn, 1828, Webster's Dictionary. To reject with disdain, to scorn, to receive or accept, to treat.
It said to scorn or to treat with contempt. Now, when you mention God, how many of our people be like, oh man, you coming with that Bible stuff? Man, I don't want to hear. Man, I don't want nothing to do with it. Oh man, you can save all that. How many of our people been contaminated because of that? Oh man, you come with the Bible thumping. Oh, here you come Bible banging. Oh man, get out of here. I didn't heard it all, man. Y'all say the same thing. You want some money. Or you try to get in close and get something on the physical. Y'all ain't no different from pimps. It's just legal pimping. That's all it is. Taking advantage of weak women, vulnerable women, thirsty. I don't want nothing to do. Oh man, I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want nothing to do with the Bible. I don't want nothing to do with the God. I already heard all that. How many people have ruined people's belief because of ill situations, bad leadership, bad decision making, abusing authority, taking advantage of weak people, vulnerable people in weak positions? He said, because of these actions, people start to spurn. That spurn means to hold in contempt. And what else?
It says to manifest disdain in rejecting anything.
They don't want to hear nothing with the Bible. They don't want to hear no verses. They don't want to hear none of that. You just made people, through your unbelief, through your actions, you just made people reject the Most High. Most High got a problem with that. Because that's not how he wants to be seen. That's not how he wants to be known. We just read in Deuteronomy how he wants to be seen and known. He said, let them know that they can depend on me. I'm faithful. You may not be faithful, but I'm faithful. That's how he wants to be known. He said they reject damn near everything. They don't want to hear nothing about the Bible. Read on. What you got, Kariah?
To make contemptuous opposition.
It says now they have reason to be strengthened in their disbelief. You strengthen them through your sin as a leader in other people's disbelief. You made their doubt stronger. So now people don't even want to acknowledge the Father.
That's why Christ said, either gathering or scattering.
Yep. And this is why Paul addresses this particular situation. Romans chapter 2, verse 17. Let's get that.
Page 791, chapter 10.
Romans chapter 2, verse 17.
Everybody get it?
Uh,
What page is it down at?
791 is the book and the 10th chapter.
All right, let's get Romans chapter 2, verse 17. Let's read that.
Romans chapter 2, verse 17. Behold, thou art called a Jew.
You call yourself a Jew, right? We all know that we the real Jews, for the most part. Mostly everybody in here know we the real Jews. We the real children of Israel. We know that through the curses, through the prophecies, that the Most High laid down that we would be punished for 400 years in the land of our enemies. Brought here on cargo slave ships and put in captivity by your enemy from a language you don't understand. From a people that have no care for you, young or old. He said, yeah, okay, so you know you're a Jew. What does that mean? Read on.
And resteth in the law.
Okay, you know right from wrong. You could quote the 10 Commandments. You know it's 613 laws in the Bible. You know that the 7th day of the week is the Sabbath. You know Sunday is not the holy day, but Friday sundown and Saturday sundown is the holy day. It's the 7th day of the week. Okay, you know these things. You know you wear fringes. You got fringes on. You know that's a commandment. You know you're not supposed to commit adultery because you know the law. You know you're not supposed to steal because you know the law. Read on.
And makest thy boast of the Most High.
And you claim the Most High. You always talking about the Bible. You're always talking about you have a relationship with the Most High. And that you know the Lord. And that you're spiritually minded. And you have a connection with the Holy Spirit. And you washed in the blood of Jesus. Read.
And knowest his will.
And you know the will of the Father. You say you do. And you persuade other people to do. Read on.
And approvest the things that are more excellent.
And you only want to do things that's right by him. You only want to be right by the Most High. You don't care to be judged by people. You just want to be right by the Most High. You don't care what people say. Read on.
Being instructed out of the law.
Because you get your information and instruction from who?
Out of the law.
That's your confidence. Your confidence is not what people know you as, but how the Most High knows you. That you're known of the Lord. That's your confidence. That you're recognized by the Most High. That's your confidence. Read on.
And art confident that thou thyself art a guide to the blind.
And he's talking to who? Leaders. You call yourself a leader. A person that's worthy to be followed. Who's on the right path. That's what you say. You're a guide to the blind. Read on.
A light of them which are in darkness.
You're an inspiration to those that are in darkness. People can follow you because you give light and you're a good influence for people to be around. That's what you say. Follow me. I'm a good influence. Read on.
An instructor of the foolish.
Oh, you're an instructor. What's another word for an instructor? You're a teacher. You're a leader. Follow me. Read on.
A teacher of babes.
Because you have the right information and right doctrine and right teaching. Read on.
It says, which has the form of knowledge.
You look like the part. You look like a holy roller.
You say big words.
You use scriptures.
You quote scriptures. You speak a little Hebrew.
You can navigate your way through the book. Read on.
And of the truth in the law.
And you say, I know the truth in the law. I can show you the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. I can disprove Easter. I can disprove Christmas. None of that's in the Bible. I can disprove all these fake high holy days. I can disprove all these things. This is why my family don't set up no Christmas trees. This is why we don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day. This is why we don't do Boogie Monsters in Halloween. This is why we don't do trick-or-treating. We don't do Frosty. We don't put up no Christmas lights because we know that's not in the Bible. Read on.
Verse 21. Thou therefore which teachest another.
He says, thou therefore that does what?
which teacheth another.
But here's what the Most High is looking at. You claim to be one to follow. And you got some instructions to give other people. And you take it upon yourself to declare that you're an inspiration and a light. He says, you teachest another what?
It says, thou therefore which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself?
He said, but you always ready to distribute information, but do you accept? Do you follow? Do you practice what you preach? Because if you're one to say that you have a relationship with the Most High, then the lifestyle should also declare it.
That's true. That's true.
The lifestyle should declare it. The conversation should declare it. The behavior should declare it. Do you practice what you preach? Because those that don't is the ones that ruin the sheep. If you don't practice what you preach, you ruin the sheep. Because they don't want to look at the Most High right no more. They look at the Most High like he can't be trusted by way of your actions and hypocrisy. Read on.
Thou that preachest a man shouldest not steal.
You telling men, hey man, don't steal, bro. It's against the law. Thou shalt not steal. Exodus chapter 20, verse 7. Thou shalt not steal. You say that, right? Read on.
Dost thou steal?
But do you do what you tell people not to do? What is that called?
Hypocrite.
That's a hypocrite. The Most High is against that. Because it makes him look bad. It ruins the perspective of the way he wants to be seen. People no longer look at the Most High in a pure light anymore. Another word for hypocrite is a play actor. Are you trying out for an ESPY or a Golden Globe Award? Are you trying to get an Emmy?
You want a BET Emmy?
Are you trying to get an Oscar? Are you trying to get a Grammy in music? What are you doing? Are you trying to? What type of award are you trying to gain? Because you're play acting. It's theater. But how many people in a pulpit or in church have been playing godly? They play godly. I used to go to a church before I came into the truth where the head pastor committed adultery. He gave up his congregation right here in San Antonio. Committed adultery with one of the congregational members. And it came out and he admitted it in front of the whole congregation. And he stepped down. And then he relocated to Oklahoma. Now he's battling stage 4 cancer.
Wow, I never got the update. It's tough.
So, but you don't just get to be in a position where you say you know the Most High, and you get to lead people, but you're acting the whole time.
And this would be a good time for the Most High to come through for him.
Yeah.
He would need the Most High for all the leadership and services and classes, teaching and the people you help. Now you need the Most High.
You need the Most High now more than ever.
Most High would be really good right about now.
Yeah.
Most High like, but when I needed you,
Yeah.
where were you? When I needed you, I depended on you to come through for me and be a good representative. Where were you? When you had no needs. When you were good. But now the Most High puts in positions where now we need him. And we're asking for a favor. Like, but what about when I asked you for a favor?
Yep. Now he's in a real bad situation. But the Most High doesn't tolerate what makes him look bad when you're supposed to be the leader. When you're supposed to be an instructor of babes. You don't tolerate that. Read.
Verse 20, Romans chapter 2, verse 22. Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery.
You tell people don't commit adultery. You say it from the pulpit. You got it on the wall in the congregation. You got the 10 Commandments up in the wall and in the hallway and in the bathroom stalls. You got it plastered all over the place. You got the 2 tablets out front of the yard in front of the church. In stone. You got the cross on your neck. You know how people do it. You got the Jesus piece.
Oh yeah.
What are you saying? I'm a believer. You saying you're a believer? You telling people it's wrong? Or is it only wrong when it happens to you? Man, you know you shouldn't do that, man. That's my woman. Oh, so it's wrong when it's your woman. But what about when it's somebody else's woman?
It's not that wrong.
It's not that bad? He said what?
Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery?
Do you teach people what not to do while still doing what you tell them not to do? Do you encourage people to change a behavior that you haven't changed? Because that's what a play actor is. That's what a hypocrite is. The Most High is against that because you make him look bad. You smearing his name as a leader. Read on.
Thou that abhorrest idols.
He said you tell people that Nimrod is the Christmas tree is Nimrod tree. You tell people to put away gambling, but you be sneaking gambling. You gamble, but you tell people, hey man, don't be gambling, man. But you gamble. You tell people don't commit adultery, but you commit adultery. You tell people don't steal, but you swipe every once in a while. You swipe in certain situations.
I got to hit my lick when the lick comes.
You got to hit a lick, but you tell people they don't hit. Hey man, don't do that. So when is it okay? Because through your behavior, you blur the lines of obedience and what it means to follow. Read on.
It says, thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege?
Get the definition of sacrilege.
Sacrilege, 1828, Webster's Dictionary. The crime of violating or profaning sacred things.
It says you violate and profane what?
Sacred things.
You smoke weed with Bible pages.
Or the other way. You smoke weed and then you read the Bible.
And then you read the Bible.
It's both.
And then call yourself spiritual. He said that's what?
Sacrilege.
That's sacrilege. You profane holy things. Or you just bumping and grinding in the church.
I saw it the other day. I ain't gonna call the congregation out, people out, but there's a camp that was in their Passover. They had a woman or a woman artist, I guess, rapping like she's one of these Glorilla or what?
Cardi B.
Cardi B's out. It was the Brew version. It's the Brew version of the Cardi B out. I'm not going to go any further, but what the contents of the message was very vulgar. You wouldn't want anyone.
You wouldn't want children.
Children should not be in that conversation.
That's a rated R concert.
Yeah, bro.
That's an X-rated concert that supposed Israelites are holding for a Passover. A Passover is to represent two things. It's two feasts and two high holy days being celebrated at a Passover. Number one is the Passover, which represents Exodus, which is the death angel passing over our houses and killing the Egyptians' firstborn, man and beast. All the firstborn of Egypt dying. The Most High sending a death angel to eliminate our enemies. That's the first purpose of Passover. The Feast of Unleavened Bread is to celebrate our exodus out of Egypt and our departure from slavery. Which we understood that was Christ as the death angel, according to Wisdom of Solomon. That was Christ. That was the rock that spewed forth the water that gave us drink in the wilderness. That was Christ with us the whole time. So you're supposed to be celebrating Christ on two occasions at the Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. But you got a woman in not so modest apparel, cussing and twerking and speaking vile language, profanity, with a full body suit on, a very risque outfit.
Wow.
Or even the ones a couple of years ago that celebrated Passover in a strip club.
Yeah, that was the one that blew me away.
Horrible.
What's that about?
I was saying the same crew.
No. That's not.
That's different one.
Different one.
Whole different. It's not the same.
Okay.
But that was just out of like you're going on the term sacrilege, embarrassing the Most High.
You have no respect
bad,
for you have no respect for what's holy. Read that definition again.
Sacrilege, 1828 Webster's Dictionary. The crime of violating or profaning sacred things.
The Bible is sacred, man. The Word of God is sacred. And he takes how you impersonate yourself as a believer very sacredly. When you profess that you're one to inspire other people and teach other people, you dropping verses on people. You got the Bible in one hand and you got your lust in the other hand. Read on. We want to bring something up?
After you finished your point, it was just to add on to your verse.
Go ahead and read it. That's cool.
Give me Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 29 and 30.
Ecclesiastes.
Yes. Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha. Yes, sir. There was something that Sean Shawan had mentioned years ago, and I don't know if you recall I guess your particular study, but you were bringing out that the apostles were given the authority to whatever they were speaking. The Most High backed it and ordained it on earth as it was in heaven, so to speak. That was kind of that was the theme of the topic.
What's bound on earth is bound in heaven.
Exactly. So what he was saying was, the apostles, or the teachers, the leaders, whatever they were saying on earth, the Most High backed it. And we're going to read this verse real quick, because it also goes in reverse. Read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 29. Be not an hypocrite in the sight of men.
So just on that same vein, which I want to say, be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, because when you have that seat of authority or that leadership, and you are an example and people are watching you, being a stumbling block is the worst thing you can do. Being the what not to do in Christ is the worst thing you can do. Because as much as you might have the backing, if you're on point, for the Most High to honor you, honor your words, honor the judgment, honor your thought process, because ultimately you're guiding the thought process if you're in the Spirit. You also got to be very mindful that everything that's being said is being examined. Read on.
God. And take good heed what thou speak.
And this is why I'm saying you have to really consider and really meditate on what you're telling people. What judgments you're telling people. What counsels are you giving people. Because the Most High is also going to measure you by that same extent. It's a double-edged sword for a reason. If you're going to be harsh in one arena, you have to match that arena. Or you'll get stung in that same arena.
When you say match that arena, that means that I must qualify myself and make the same changes that I'm urging other people to make.
Yes, you have to match that level of discipline. Because that level of discipline, by you following up with that level of discipline, the Most High will back what you're saying. Because you'll be the example that it can be done. That's what Christ's job was in the first place. I'm going to come down and show you that it can be done. Perfection can be done. So that everybody else that follows after me can also be crowned as sons of the Most High. But the problem is, we'll say standards because we understand a lot. We have knowledge of a lot of things. But when it comes to the application, we fall short. Therefore, many people fall short after us.
Domino effect.
It's a domino effect. It happens to the old and it happens to the young. But the Most High, regardless of your age and regardless of your experience and truth, I always tell many, there was a class I taught about, I think it was like call to be teachers. And I was explaining, even if you're not on the podium and you just got in the truth, but you come across a new brother, you've been in the truth for a couple of months, and you start opening the word to them. Now they believe, and they're going to be guided by everything you say. I'll never forget this one time I was at a cart. I was probably 18, just started, really, really study the Bible. Daryl had me pull someone to the cart, and I had the Bible open. And the first thing the person said was, "Can you teach me something?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll show you a little something." whatever I was reading at the time, I was probably Wisdom of Solomon or something, trying to be spiritual. But what I realized was everything that I was saying, that person was taking serious because they were truly seeking change. They were truly looking for answers. The problem with that is people who are in the wrong spirit take advantage of that. Now I'm gonna start counseling for myself. So it talks about in Ecclesiastes 37 and verse 10, beware of a counselor and see what you have need of. Because some people will use that opportunity to persuade them into their own corners. And that's what I might go into on Friday. But the point is, keep reading in verse 30 real quick.
God, exalt not thyself.
So I'm counseling for my personal benefit.
I'm counseling for my personal benefit, but
Not Christ's benefit.
Not Christ's benefit. But what the Most High does, he'll flip it back on you. Because you're counseling for your own benefit. A lot of men, they'll counsel, they'll check, they'll fire up, because one, it makes them look better. But the problem is if you make that mistake, he's going, I don't want to beat the point. Read it real quick.
Exalt not thyself, lest thou fall.
It says, don't exalt thyself. Because a lot of people will exalt themselves in their counsel.
Meaning they'll interject what they want in the midst of what they should be teaching.
Exactly. And also, they'll use their current achievements in Christ to make them feel better or elevate themselves while they're checking someone else in the low state. And the problem with that is you're playing a dangerous game, because now you're telling man, ain't telling the Most High, I can keep this standard. If I fall from that standard, what is the Most High going to do now? Read on.
God, exalt not thyself, lest thou fall.
Because you were prideful in how you check and how you judge. You're a hypocrite in how you judge, because you might have been on point for a certain period of time, but your heart truly ain't changed yet. Because you're exalting yourself because you've been more consistent than the person you're sitting here being hypocritical towards. He says, be careful lest you fall as well. And what happens? Read.
And bring dishonor upon thy soul.
Yep, because the Most High is the king of setting people up. He's the king of letting things go on for a certain period of time till it boils over, and now the shame will be upon you. Now all the hot stuff you were speaking, it will be quiet. You will be quiet. Because what's going to happen? Read on.
And so the Most High discover thy secret.
Because I think it was a verse I pulled months ago. It was in Psalms 20 something. And it talked about how the Most High knows that secret faults. Because there's faults that most people don't know about.
He said, beware of secret faults.
Beware of your secret faults. Because there's things that you do, currently doing, or have been doing, that the Most High's been letting slide. Like David, I'm letting things slide. I'm not necessarily going to bring it out yet. But when I do bring it out, it's going to bring shame to your soul.
Because what the Most High does when he brings something out on you, he's waiting for maximum effect, maximum impact.
Come.
He's waiting for the timing to be perfect.
Come.
And when the timing is right, and all the chips are established and laid out to where you thought you were scot-free, that's when the Most High dropped the hammer on you.
Come.
And he drops the hammer on you when it's unbeknownst to you, when you had no idea that it was coming. This is why the Most High said he's sending Christ when Christ returns as a thief in the night.
Yeah.
He uses that analogy, the second coming of Christ, as a thief in the night, because it's when you're not aware. So that you can be caught off guard.
Yeah.
So you can be caught doing what you're doing, living that hypocritical life, and then right before you look up, it's too late. You got exposed. Caught with your pants down, so to speak. Because the Most High wants maximum shock value.
Oh, bro, that's crazy.
And that's how people stand in awe.
Yeah.
Are they standing in awe because they got caught, or they feel bad?
They're caught.
They didn't feel bad because they would have changed already.
Yeah.
The astonishment is in
Cut my pants down.
Forgive me. Okay, it's too late.
Exactly.
You had opportunity. You abused this opportunity.
Exactly.
So the Most High loves that, and that's why he says, "What? If you can finish your verse,
Yeah.
perfect."
Feed on real quick.
And so the Most High discover thy secrets and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation.
He said he cast you down in the midst of who?
The congregation.
The same people that you were acting in front of.
Yep. Exactly.
Promoting yourself to be a wise one in front of.
Yeah.
A trustworthy individual in front of.
Come.
The Most High blow your spot up. Read.
No, I love that point because that was the center of your quote unquote pride. The fact that I had this image, I had this quote unquote authority, I had this power. But because he knows the only way you're going to change is if you lose all that, I'm going to let this boil over to where there's no redeeming. At least not immediately.
By T.D. Jakes.
Oh, he stepped down, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Listen, bro.
Yeah, he stepped down.
Listen, he had to.
What
There's
is,
more information coming out.
somebody got the tapes.
The diddle information is coming
I said,
out.
what if I did do it? So I did not.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to teach a lie where I can tell the truth. They said, what if I did do it? They said, I'm stepping down. Yeah, because the information is intensifying.
Yeah.
The evidence is available.
Yeah.
And now he's being exposed as what? The Potter's House is huge. The Potter's House is a majorly syndicated church channel.
It's got to be like top 3. Got to be top 3, bro.
They got well, it's a lot of things that are hidden in the dark that come to the light.
Yeah.
And the Most High, he exposed it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, who's looking bad? The Most High is looking bad.
Yeah. And he doesn't want a bunch of leaders who are fearless. Because the problem is, you do what you do because you don't fear the Most High. You only fear the eyes of men. And this is what he's going to expose. This is what he's exposing. Read on.
Because thou camest not in the truth to the fear of the Lord, but thy heart is full of deceit.
Is it because you didn't operate in the fear of the Most High, which would dictate and direct your steps? I'm going to show everybody that you've been deceitful this whole time. I'm going to show you that you were the wolves that you were preaching about don't follow. I'm going to show you that you were the hypocrite in the church, the Pharisee in the church, the man that you were always proclaiming don't be. I'm going to reveal that because you didn't have enough fear in your heart, which caused you to keep going further and further into the
And he
negative.
just made a business deal with the guy to have Revolt TV. He had his own.
Yeah.
He was about to produce his own network and television show. He about to blow up.
Oh,
He's
like
finna get paid.
like Medea.
Yeah, he about to top. He was finna really equal Medea. Because Medea's kind of burnt out. He has his own line of shows and biblical theme visuals coming out. And he wanted to put out a series because everybody's trying to go that 50% route. Everybody wants to be a producer
Yeah.
and produce movies now. Because just making golf albums ain't enough. Selling books ain't enough. Preaching and getting $1 million a class is not enough.
Never satisfied. It won't more.
It's not enough. So you gotta take the next level. He had to do a lot of dirty deals to get there. The Most High smashed him.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great verse.
That's it.
Great verse. Let that go. That's potent. That's right on time. Let's go back to Romans chapter 2.
Romans chapter 2. Romans chapter 2, last we read was 22, continue 23.
Verse 23.
23, Romans chapter 2, verse 23. Thou that makest thy boast of the law.
He said, you make your boast. You pretend that you're a follower of God. He said, you boast about the Most High. You brag about the Most High. The Most High's name is always coming out of your mouth. When you go to Psalm 50, go to Psalm 50 real quick. The Most High don't even want his name in your mouth. Go to Psalm chapter 50 and start at verse 16.
Psalm chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked, the Most High saith.
The Most High said what? So let me get sorry, everybody got it. Psalm 50 and 16.
Wait, 665.
665 in the Black Bible. Read.
Oh, trick.
Oh.
Sorry.
Now what you got?
425.
Page 425. Go ahead.
Psalm chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked, the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?
He said, what are you doing preaching my word? This is what the Most High said to the wicked.
Wow.
What reason do you have to even quote my scriptures? You see what the Most High said? You shouldn't even have my name, my statutes, my laws, my rules coming out your mouth. Keep my name out your mouth.
Yeah.
Put some respect on my name. He said, what?
What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth,
Read.
seeing thou hatest instruction?
He said, because you don't even follow instruction. Why are you trying to get people to follow something that you don't even follow? You hate instruction. And you're trying to get people to follow instruction? But you hate instruction? What are you doing with my words? Leave my words alone. See, the Most High is not co-signing hypocrisy. Unfortunately, there's a lot of hypocrites with Bibles. But the Most High is not co-signing hypocrisy. He said, you hate my instructions. You don't follow my instructions, but you telling people my words. Read on.
Seeing thou hatest instruction, and casteth my words behind thee.
It said, but when it comes to you following my word, what do you do with it?
Casteth my words behind thee.
It has no effect on your life. It has no effect on your life whatsoever. But you're oftenly trying to put other people in restriction mode. You know, you got to follow God or else. The Most High ain't happy with those actions. You know, the Most High expect more out of you, but you don't expect more out of yourself. You don't care about rules. You don't care about being committed to laws. You don't want to be under any restraints. But when somebody's out of order, you sure will bang them with a Bible verse. So the Most High is not co-signing that. Read on.
Verse 18. When thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him.
How does the Most High say when you saw a thief you consented with him?
And hast been partaker?
Because you didn't stop him. You just turned the other way, act like you didn't see nothing. So you're okay with it. You're complicit to sin. You're complicit to sin. You're okay with sinning as long as it's not directly affecting you directly. He said, when you saw a thief, he said, thou consented with him. You didn't reprove him. You was okay with it. Read on.
And hast been partakers with adulterers.
Read on.
Thou givest thy mouth to evil.
He says, you give your mouth to what?
To evil.
Read on.
And thy tongue frameth deceit.
He says, you don't practice what you preach. And you don't speak like a believer should speak. You don't have the virtue in your actions and your behavior and your speech that qualifies a teacher or somebody that should be given instruction. This is why the Most High said, having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience once your obedience is what? Is fulfilled. You're not qualified to instruct anybody until you learn how to get in order. Until you learn how to follow. Now finish that in Romans chapter 2 verse 23.
Now Romans chapter 2 verse 23. Thou that makest thy boast of the law.
Read on.
Through breaking the law.
He said, but you do what?
Through breaking the law.
He says you boast about the law, but the whole while you're doing what?
Dishonors breaking the law.
You're breaking the law. How?
Dishonors thou the Most High?
You dishonor who?
The Most High.
You make the Most High look bad. All hypocritical behavior and speech makes the Most High look bad. That's why he's even that much more critical and crucial on leaders and teachers. You're supposed to be getting people to follow and trust and be and learn that that the Most High is faithful, that they can put their life in his hands. But through your actions, you show them a different alternative path. You show them something different. That's contrary to what you're trying to teach them. Your lifestyle don't line up with your words. And that's why it says, doest thou what?
Dost thou bring
Read it again.
thou that makest thy boast of the law through breaking the law, dishonorest thou the Most High?
It says, don't you know who you're dishonoring? You putting a stain on whose name?
The Most High.
You're putting a stain on the Most High's name. And the Most High is highly against that. Read on.
Verse 24. For the name of the Most High is blasphemy.
Once again, there it is again.
Hmm.
He said, once again, you give people reason to what?
Blasphemy.
And that definition of the word blasphemy, we found out that word was what?
To spurn.
To spurn. And Karai, you had that definition of spurn. What does it mean to spurn? Here you go opening the door through your behavior, through your speech, through your hypocrisy. You open the door for the people to spurn, which means to what?
Spurn, 1828, to reject with disdain.
Now they hate the Bible. Now they hate God. Now they hate the scriptures. They hate the people in the Bible. And they hate the people with the Bible in their hand. You made the people almost unreachable. The Most High can't reach them. Because of whose actions? Faulty actions of a leader. Faulty actions of a teacher. Put a separation and a breach and a gap between the people, his children, and the Father. So like that we brought out earlier, you're not gathering, you're scattering. But how do you scatter? How do we scatter? How? Because we don't follow the things that we tell people to follow. We don't subject ourselves to that same level of discipline. We're disobedient and rebellious, but we telling people to be in order. You're sending the wrong signals. You're sending mixed signals. You're causing a disconnection between the people and the Most High. Read on.
Down verse 24. For the name of the Most High is blasphemed among the Gentiles. Through you.
Through who?
Through you.
You the hypocrite. You the play actor. You make the Most High look bad. Because you don't want to follow and subject yourself to the same thing that you're urging people to follow. Why don't you fix yourself? Why don't you focus on you? Then like Elisha said, the Most High will sponsor you.
Come.
He'll back up what you deliver. And he'll support what you're teaching. And it'll be easily confirmable to those that you're preaching to. And easily persuaded. Give me 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 18 while I get this other Matthew Henry commentary. Go ahead and break that down, Daria, real quick. Let me find this.
1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 806. Page 806 of the Black Book.
9 and 18.
Come.
18 or 17?
1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 18.
Okay, 18.
You want to read verse 18 and 19.
God, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 18. What is my reward then?
What is my reward then? Key point is reward. Reward means based off these actions, these works, these ethics, these investments, there's a return. What is the return for all of my sacrifice and suffering in righteousness? Read.
Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Christ without charge.
This is how spiritual Paul was. He said, the greatest gift I could get is that I don't disrespect the book. That I don't disrespect the craft. That I don't disrespect the position. That I don't disrespect the post. That's the greatest thing I can do. That I can thoroughly respect the position of being that shepherd, of being that magistrate, of being that officer, of being that leader, of being that teacher, of being that guy. That I perfected the best I could do that position. I defile the seat of authority. Like the hypocrites were the Pharisees. They sit in Moses' seat. They hear the word, but they won't do them. But they're in Moses' seat, though. Read.
that I abuse not my power in the gospel.
That I do what?
That I abuse not my power in the
A
gospel.
person can only abuse their power through their personal ignorance, meaning a person who lacks understanding, according to Scripture, is a great oppressor. The prince that wanted understanding. I really don't know what this is about. I really didn't study. I really didn't learn my teacher's thought pattern. I really didn't learn the craft that I was given into. I just came in with my personal experience, what I read, and after that, it's about what I think. I'm a strong, opinionated leader. That's really it's a bad position to put your sheep in.
Yep.
I always say this. I'm gonna say it till I die. Your elders gotta have elders. You can't this one guy that I'm in the spirit. No one can check me, and I have no one to analyze my conversation and my works. Read.
Verse 19. For though I be free from all men.
I might be able. You might not be able to see me. Men might not be able because they're not really studying the scriptures to be able to really verbally go against me because I'm more experienced. Read.
Yet have I made myself servant unto all.
Listen, I'm free from all men, meaning what? I don't really have I really don't have to sit here and do this work. I don't gotta sit here and get my hands dirty. I put enough work in to sit back and relax, like David did. They put enough work in to let the men be in the field, get the work done, and look up at nighttime, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. I'm bored, nothing to do. All woman over here, she's bathing now. And by the way, she's looking kind of good. And by the way, she's married. If I was in the field at war, guess what? I'd be conscious of being on top of my discipline. Because I'm in a nice robe, and I'm relaxed, had a good plate of food, got free time. When men get free time, they give into their lust.
Yeah.
Was that point again?
Come, for though I be free from all men.
So even though Paul is free from men, he don't have to sit here and get his hands dirty. Read.
Yet have I made myself servant unto all.
I'm still going to be under the critical eye of the youth. I'm still going to be under the critical eye of men that are quote unquote above me. Right? And I'm still going to sit here and have to labor and be conscious of the needs of the people.
What he's saying is that he's going to make himself to whatever he'll lower himself, and he'll be whatever the person that has the lowest level of faith that is around him. He'll be that individual in order for them to strengthen them in faith, to not be an excuse or a reason for them not to believe. Meaning he'll stoop or condescend to the lowest level of faith. Meaning he'll make sure that he's not offensive to the most critical, skeptical eye.
Which is very, very uncomfortable because
that means I got to be considerate. I'm extremely considerate
of every person.
That's
hard to do.
That means that I don't want to damage. I understand that these sheep, these children, their belief is so fragile. So because their belief is so fragile and delicate, I'll make sure that I don't do anything wrong that's going to cause them to despise the Lord. That means I'm going to watch my tongue. I'm not finna get loose and free. I'm not finna drink in front of them. I'm not finna party in front of them. I'm not finna show them a bad example. I'm not finna steal in front of them. I'm not finna do none of these things. What Paul said is I'm going to make myself a servant. That means I'll be whatever that vulnerable young mind needs to be. That delicate mind, that fragile mind needs me to be so that they can make a connection to the Father. So I don't disrupt that connection to the Father.
Because he's not the priority.
You know, because what people like to do is this. You know, don't be like me. Be better than me.
Yeah, that's the facts.
That's what people like to do. Don't do what I do.
Like parents.
Be better than me.
Like parents with cigarettes.
Do as I say, not as I do. That's what people like to do. People like to tell you what's right, but they don't want to be an instrument of what's right because they don't got enough love and they don't have enough fear of the Lord, like Elisha just brought out. They don't have enough fear of the Lord to be what you need them to be in order to believe. So what they do is they try to act like you didn't see this. Don't judge me by this. Well then, if you really care about the people like you say you do, if you really love them like you say you do, then how about you put away all reasons for people not to believe in the Most High, including your own actions and behavior and your lust. How about you put your lust aside since you care so much? But a lot of people don't want to do that though. See, it's too late for me. I'm trying to save you.
Yeah.
That's the excuse we like to do. It's too late for me. I'm just trying to save it. Well, you know, if you really love, like you say you do, then put away everything that could be a possible hindrance for somebody's belief.
Hove did that. So hopefully you have to.
So you don't have to do that. Hove sold crack. So you don't got to do that.
Yeah.
That's what rappers say. I did it so you don't have to do it. So I can come back and tell you the ins and outs of it and the ups and downs and the highs and the lows so you don't have to follow that path. As if they're like a pioneer.
Yeah.
I was a pioneer of sin. I was a pioneer of sin so that you don't have to commit sin. I did all the dirt for you. Come on, man. Crazy, man. I did all the dirt so you ain't got to do it. So you can learn from me. How about you did all the dirt because you wanted to do the dirt?
That's what that's the real answer.
Because you enjoyed it. Now you're trying to tell me not to enjoy it. But you enjoyed it, though.
Don't be like me, be a doctor or a lawyer or something. Don't be what I am.
Yeah.
I'm a gangster. That's the old reference, Zach. But I like what you're saying.
But that's what our people do.
Yeah.
So the Most High don't like this, man. So where we at real quick? Let's go to we got that in Paul, what Paul said, right?
Yeah.
Go to James chapter 3. No, read this right here. Read this right here in Matthew Henry commentary.
Come. It says, David had by his sin wronged the Most High in his honor.
He said, David by his sin wronged the Most High. Go ahead.
He had given occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme.
It said, yeah, when through your actions and your disobedience and your rebellion, you open the door for people to not believe in God.
Yeah, because the first thing they'll say is, so this is your anointed?
Yeah.
This is the leader of the people?
Yeah, this is the guy that this is as good as a guy that you can produce.
Yeah.
Is a guy that steals men's wives and kills them.
Yeah.
And put them to death. Read on.
It says, the wicked people of that generation, the infidels.
Stop. Get the definition of infidel.
Oh, Lord.
Get the definition of infidel.
Infidel, 1828, Webster's Dictionary. Unbelieving.
It said there's a lot of people that are what?
Not believing.
They're unbelieving. So there's a lot of people that need persuasion.
Good. This is crazy.
A lot of people need persuasion. Your job as a teacher or as a leader is to persuade the unbelievers. One thing that you must do is to contain and put away your hypocrisy, your disobedience, and your rebellion, your negativity, your vices, and your lust. People need that extra level of commitment from you in order to take their belief to another level. See, we just want to say believe in God, and as if that was enough to do our job, and then cross our fingers and say, I hope I taught enough people. I hope I spread the gospel because I told people about God and I showed them Bible verses, but I didn't want to eliminate my negativity. People need you to eliminate your negativity to push them over the threshold of belief. But our people be so selfish, they don't want to do that. Our people be so selfish, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to say that I push people to God while also enjoying their lust. They want to be able to claim both. But you can't do that. You can't open a door for people to further and strengthen their unbelief just because you shared a couple verses, but your actions was in total violation of what you was teaching, along with your speech. That's why it says you're in the presence of the infidels. The infidels is who? Read.
Unbelieving, disbelieving the inspiration of the scriptures.
It says they don't believe in the inspiration of the scriptures.
That's 828.
That's 8:28. They don't believe that a man can be changed through the scriptures.
They don't believe that the Bible has converting power. The power to convert souls.
It's amazing.
Why don't people believe that the Bible has power to convert souls?
It's a lot of bad examples.
Because the bad examples that stand between them and the Most High.
Absolutely. But the bad examples are who?
The leaders.
The leaders, the teachers. It's through the bad examples of the teachers that cause our people to say, man, I'm questioning this Bible thing. I know there's a God, but man, there's a lot of other paths too. There's got to be more paths. There's got to be more paths to salvation and righteousness. The Most High is the only path. But you leave it up to people that are faulty in their leadership. They'll scatter the sheep thinking that there's, man, I got to find another way to get to God. Maybe I'm going to go through Allah and I'll just become a Muslim and I'll put on a kufi and I'll sing Hamdulillah and
quote Bible scriptures at the same time.
and quote surahs instead of Bible verses. Because they got verses in the Quran too.
Yeah.
But I'll quote surahs and I'll change my name to Muhammad such and such. Because there's got to be an alternative. Or I'll change my name to Bobby X.
Yep.
Because I'm unknown. I was a slave, so I don't know no better. So I'll just be Bobby X. The X is for unknown, since I don't know our natural origin. Or it's just going to be about the red, the black, and the green. All this other nonsense.
Yeah.
Or you fall into some astrology.
Yep.
Foolishness. Why? Because when people needed an opportunity to see a strong example of what a believer looks like to be thoroughly convinced that there is a God, you showed them something different from your actions. Read that definition.
Right. It says, unbelieving, disbelieving the inspiration of the scriptures.
And 1 Timothy 3:16, it says what?
First Timothy 3:16, page 837 in the black book. Page 837 in the black book.
1 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16.
Read that.
And without controversy.
No, give me 2 Timothy.
Okay,
2 Timothy.
Yeah. That's what I want. 2 Timothy 3:16.
2 Timothy 3 and 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High.
Now, an infidel is somebody that doesn't believe
Hey, page 840?
I'm not sure.
Well, 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy, not first, right? That's page 840.
840. All right. Read it again.
Come. 2 Timothy 3 and verse 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High.
It says all scripture, every one of these Bible verses was inspired by who?
The Most High.
Now, when you track down and you backtrack and you trace down the origin of the word inspiration, the word inspire means to motivate or incite, but it has another meaning to it. The word inspire comes from the word aspire. The word aspire means to breathe into, like to resuscitate somebody. Like when somebody's not breathing and you got to breathe for them and you got to put your breath into them. So this is how you give somebody else life. You aspire, you bring life, you blow breath into somebody else's body so that they can become alive because they're not breathing. That's how you resuscitate somebody. They need aspiration. They need to be put on an aspirator. Something that helps give them life. That's what the word inspiration comes from. Every one of these Bible verses are made to put life into somebody and to give somebody life. That's the beauty and the power of the scriptures. They bring people to life. But people need to see you alive, in a live state, not a dead state. They need to see you living by these scriptures in order to be confirmed or fully persuaded to believe in the Most High. See, the scripture, there's nothing wrong with the Bible. The Bible, the Most High got the Bible for a reason, to bring dead bodies to life, to put spirit into people. But how can you give life to somebody when you don't have life? What breath are you going to blow into them when you're a dead man walking and you're dead in your sins? When you're in an airplane and they lose cabin pressure and the mask fall out the roof, don't they tell you to put it on yourself first before you give it to your kids? Why? Yeah, what good can the kid ain't gonna help you? You gotta put the mask on when there's no when the cabin lose pressure and the oxygen's out the window. You gotta make sure you don't faint to save you and the baby. You gotta breathe a little bit, catch your breath, and then hold your breath and give it to the baby. And take turns. They tell you, the stewardess to tell you, you put the mask on first. Then hand it to the kid. No different than scuba diving training. They say if somebody drowning, you put the mask on first, you breathe a couple times, and then you share it with the person that is drowning. It ain't good for both of y'all to die. It's no different with the Bible. How are you going to bring somebody to life, a dead man to life, but you dead in the spirit? You don't live by the book. How you going to inspire anybody? You know how you inspire people the most? You change. You change your behavior. You change your speech. Then you become an inspiration to other people. He said all scripture is given by what?
Inspiration.
Of the Most High.
Read on.
And it's profitable.
And if you follow the Bible, it's profitable, meaning it's beneficial for you. For what?
For doctrine.
For teaching. What else?
For reproof.
For a correct way of looking at things. What else?
For correction.
To get back on track, to correct somebody that's veered off track. What else?
For instructions in righteousness.
And for learning how to live life the right way. See, the Bible's profitable for all these things. But through our mismanagement of the scriptures, we destroy the benefits and the profitability of the Bible. We destroy all the benefits of the Bible through our mismanagement, through our faulty behavior. That's why it's important when you're in the presence of infidels that you walk appropriately. What does it say, Kariah? You can let that go.
Infidel. It says unbelieving, disbelieving the inspiration of the scripture.
It's a lot of people that don't really believe in the inspiration of the scripture. They don't believe in the power of the scriptures. It could actually resuscitate their soul. They need your assistance in order to believe.
And that means also, like you said earlier, to critique means to critique also. So there's something that in their mind they're critiquing the book, but what their God they trust should be critiqued also. People say, "Oh man, you know what? The Bible's written by man." The same person will pull out Encyclopedia Britannica and go into the theory of evolution. Was written by a man. But I say your book's written by man.
Oh no! What our people like to quote, our people love to quote Nostradamus.
Yeah,
we love to quote Nostradamus, but won't read the Bible.
That's facts. That's facts.
We love following Nostradamus and these theorists, so-called homemade prophets. That actually, when you actually read about Nostradamus, he was an avid sorcerer. He often did magic spells and sorcery to conjure up the dead, to get revelations from the dead. That's where he got his revelations from. But our people will put the Bible down and esteem Nostradamus as a prophet in a heartbeat.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
What else you got for infidel?
Infidel. Someone who is unfaithful, treacherous, or disloyal.
He said, yeah. How do you convince people that are treacherous and disloyal? You have to walk a certain way. Read this right here.
The wicked people of that generation, the infidels, the idolaters, and profane, would triumph in David's fall.
It says they would love to see David make a mistake. See, the Most High knew that it wasn't just the adultery that was the sin that David did. It's the fact that you strengthened a bunch of unbelievers.
Yeah.
You strengthened a bunch of infidels, a bunch of no good, treacherous individuals. You gave them more reason why not to believe. It was more than just the adultery. Read.
And speak ill of the Most High and of his law.
And they could say, you know what? David,
Your own king.
I thought that was the guy that you said was a man after God's heart, his own heart. So is God about adultery? Because if David is a man after your own heart, like you said, then God must be approving of adultery. What kind of God is this?
Those polite cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of God is okay with adultery? What kind of God condones murder? Because that's what an unbeliever will say.
That's true.
What kind of God would let bombs fall on little children? Why do little children got to suffer and die?
Yep. All the time.
People will use the slightest situation to say, well, all the kids or all the babies are dying. Why does God not save the babies? They're innocent. Is it really that they care so much about the babies? Or they just hold on to that as a reason and a stronghold why not to believe?
Yeah.
But our people will hold on to anything why not to believe. Read.
It says, when they saw one guilty of such foul enormities that profess such an honor both for him and it, these are your professors.
These are your professors? These are your leaders?
Oh, man.
These are your teachers? You follow after those guys? You give more reason for people to mock and to scoff.
Yep.
And to reject the scriptures. Read on.
This is he that prays and sings psalms?
This is David, the one that prays and writes all these songs? This is David? This the guy that supposedly loves God? And he's killing men, putting men to death to take their wife? What kind of God is he serving? Who does he make look bad?
All the time.
Makes the Most High look bad. Read on.
And is so very devout? What good can there be in such exercises if they will not restrain men from adultery and murder?
He says, man, why have all this practice and ceremonies? Why read all these scriptures? Why pray and look holy when they don't stop men from committing adultery? You're a supposed believer, but it ain't stopping you from seeking after some other man's woman. It ain't stopping you from putting another man to death. So why do you want me to believe in a powerless religion? Why do you want me to believe in a powerless God? That's how other people look at the Most High through our actions. It makes the Most High look like he has no power. So we could see how the Most High feels about sin. We could see how the Most High feels about hypocrisy. And why he takes that with such disdain. And why it's so punishable. He didn't let Moses get away with it.
Nope.
He didn't let David get away with it. What makes you think he's going to let us get away with it? He's not. James chapter 3 verse 13. We're going to wrap it up. James chapter 3 verse 13.
James chapter 3 verse 13.
And James 3 and 13 is page 852. Page 852, Black Book.
James chapter 3 verse 13. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you?
It said if you want to follow somebody, it said follow somebody that has these attributes. That's why he asked the question, who is a wise man and endued with knowledge amongst you? Knowledge is information gained through study. Wisdom is the correct application of knowledge. He's telling you who's worthy to be followed and worthy to be imitated. Now we chose Moses in this particular topic because Moses is that individual that you could trace his life and see how he was able to withstand all the unbelief and the doubt of all of his people. But the last little situation, when he lost patience and he got prideful and he got angry and emotional, it ruined his relationship with the Most High, or the benefits that he was able to receive from the Most High.
It killed a 40-year effort.
Yeah.
It was a 40-year effort.
Yep. Washed down the drain. Because he couldn't tolerate the people no more. They finally got under his skin. But he opened the door for them not to believe. And that's what the Most High was commissioning Moses to protect. Protect their particular look, how they see me. I need you to clear up the way they see me. Keep clean. Keep pure the way they look at me. Read.
And who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you?
Read on.
Let him show out of a good conversation.
It says the man you want to follow, you can back up his actions by his what? His conversation. He practices what he preaches. He practices what he preaches. Read on.
Let him show out of a good conversation.
He said when he says let him show out a good conversation, meaning this is how you know wisdom is made manifest. There are certain things that make wisdom manifest. A conversation manifests a man's wisdom. We know the scripture said in Ecclesiastes 19, it says a man may be known by what?
His words.
His look.
Oh, that's right.
His gait, his excessive laughter.
Yeah.
It says all these things show what man he is. So he said what?
Let him show out of a good conversation his works.
His works, meaning his actions. His words back up his actions. They coincide together. They go together. There's no hypocrisy between his actions and his words. There's no hypocrisy in it. Read on.
With meekness of wisdom.
It said with what?
With meekness of wisdom.
It says with meekness of wisdom. Meekness is a companion of wisdom. I'll say it again. Meekness is a companion of wisdom. How do you know somebody has wisdom? Give me the definition of visible. Get somebody at 1828. I know Kariah ain't
Visible.
here. He be pulling it quick. Visible. Get the 1828 the Webster's 1828 definition of visible. Read that.
Visible in the 1828. Perceivable by the eye.
It says, so you can see somebody's wisdom. You're supposed to be able to see somebody's wisdom. It's supposed to be manifest to the eye. Meaning if somebody's a real believer, you're supposed to be able to see that. You see it by their actions, and you also see it by their conversation. These things make apparent the wisdom that they possess. Read on.
That can be seen. Apparent, open, conspicuous.
Give me that part in the middle.
Says the least spot is visible on white paper.
Give me the part after that.
Air agitated by heat becomes visible. Discovered to the eye.
Yep, but no. It says what? You should see a part that says visible and outward.
Virtue made visible.
And stop. That's what I want. Yeah. It says visible by definition is what?
Virtue made visible.
It's the virtue in the person that you should see. What should be visible in people is their what?
Virtue.
Is their virtue.
It's amazing.
He said virtue is made visible. Go ahead.
In outward grace.
No, read it again.
Virtue made visible in outward grace.
It's through their outward grace, which is their meekness, which manifests their virtue to show you what's inside of them. That's how you know wisdom and meekness go together. Because you could see it. It's made visible. It's virtue that's made visible by outward grace. Meaning their meekness is manifest and is made easily seen by the eye so that you know that this person is a wise person. It's both in their actions and in their speech. That's why wisdom and meekness are companions. Meekness allows you to see a person's wisdom. Meekness makes wisdom manifest. Makes it easy to see. But when somebody don't have any meekness, they don't have the ability to tolerate people. It shows you also that they're not what?
Wise.
They're not wise. They're not wise. Because they don't have what's the definition of meekness? To endure injury without what? Without resentment. They still hold grudges. They still got a lot of hate in their heart. It shows you that person's not wise. What makes wisdom manifest? Meekness does. They go together. They're companions. Read on. Let that go. Read on. In James.
James chapter 3, verse 14. But if ye have bitter envying and strife.
That's why I said if you still got things in you that's unrepaired, if you still got some envy in you, and you still got some strife and some hate in your heart. Read.
In your hearts, glory not.
It says then don't glory about you being a wise man. Because you still got some things that need to be fixed inside of you. Then don't be so quick to profess that you know the Most High. Because you got things to repair. You got things that you need to fix within yourself. He said, glory not.
And lie not against the truth.
He said, because you lying against what? The truth. You're not the person that you think you are if you still got elements in you that need to be fixed. Repair yourself before you disrupt or smear the Most High's name. Fix yourself. Last verse, Jude chapter 1, verse 17 through 19.
Jude, verse 17.
I lied. Matthew 11 to 28 going to be the last verse. Read Jude 1, 17 through 19. Read that real quick.
Okay. Jude, verse 17. But, beloved.
It's right before Revelation. It says, but beloved, right?
Yeah.
Right?
But, beloved, remember ye the words which were spoken before of the apostles of our Lord Yahushua, how that they told you there should be mockers in the last time.
Mockers, by definition, is a scoffer. A scoffer is a false teacher. He said there's going to be mockers or scoffers or false teachers where?
In the last time.
Especially in the last days. That's why people don't, they're not even sure what church to go to. They're afraid to trust anybody. Because in the last days, there's going to be a bunch of false prophets. Read.
In the last time. Who should walk after their own ungodly lusts.
But what do they do? How do you know they're false prophets? How do you know they're scoffers and mockers?
Walk after their own ungodly lusts.
They haven't put away their what?
Ungodly lusts.
They have yet to put away their lust. Read on.
These be they who separate themselves. Sensual.
It says they're what?
Sensual.
They're sensual, meaning a sensual individual is still somebody who's vulnerable to impulse. They're very impulsive, meaning they don't have their appetites under control. They're controlled by their appetites. Not having their appetites under control, they're controlled by their appetites. These are the ones that will appear in the last days. False teachers who were still controlled by their appetites. Read.
Sensual, having not the Spirit.
And that is not the spirit that you should be following. T.D. Jakes has a promoted way of living on camera, but behind the scenes he's at Diddy's mansion, partying at the freak off.
Diddy bopping.
Because he hasn't put away his what?
Lust.
He hasn't put away his lust. That's what makes him unqualified to be a leader. Last verse, Matthew 11:28.
Matthew chapter 11 and verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor.
He said, come unto me. This is Christ speaking. He said, come unto me, all ye that labor. Read.
Page 679.
679. He said, come unto me, all ye that labor. Read.
And are heavy laden.
He said, if you're tired of working hard, it's hard to trust somebody. Read.
And I will give you rest.
Christ said, I'll give you rest. Read on.
Take my yoke upon you.
He said, follow me. Be a believer. Don't be afraid to follow me and believe. That's what Christ said. Read.
And learn of me.
He said, and follow after me. What makes Christ different as a leader? Read on.
For I am meek.
He says, because what Christ has, what he possesses is what?
Meekness.
He has meekness in him. Which is a sign of what?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Because they go together. He said, for I am meek and what?
And lowly in heart.
It says, and he's lowly in heart, meaning he won't promote himself and put his own needs over the needs of the people. He puts his needs on the back burner. And that's how you know Christ is an appropriate leader. Any questions? With that, we're going to say shalom. We'll see y'all again on Friday. The water for coming out, the water for coming online. We'll see y'all again on Friday. We got class again at 7:30, 8 o'clock on Friday. All right? So shalom, everybody online. We'll see you again on Friday. All right? Shalom.